a murderer, and you wound up thinking about that. Are you just telling me you would be upset?
I don't deny her feelings. I deny the way she has gone on about it. It's ridiculous.
Your dogs weren't killed, sir.
This is Judge Judy. Sarah Gordon is suing her neighbor, Michael Roston, for vet bills after his pit bulls attacked and killed her dog.
Judge, this is case number 56 on the calendar in the matter of Gordon versus Roston. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thank you, Bird. Bird, would you do me a favor, please, and escort the defendant's girlfriend out of the courtroom for a moment?
Sure.
I'd like her in the back, out of earshot of these proceedings for now.
That way.
Great. Mr. and Mrs. Gordon, you live in the same general vicinity where Mr. Roston lives?
Yes.
I assume, since you were walking your dog, and according to you, Mr. Roston's girlfriend, the young woman who I just had escorted out of the courtroom, I assume that was the girlfriend who was walking the dog, sir?
Yes.
So I assume that you live in the same neighborhood. On August 7th of this year, you were walking your Chihuahua.
Yes.
And I know a little bit about dogs. A fat one weighs, I don't know, 12 pounds.
15 pounds.
So a fat Chihuahua.
Well, she's a Chihuahua Terrier, yes. She was kind of hefty.
And Mr. Roston has two adult, I assume they are adult, pit bulls.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they weigh each probably about 50 or 60 pounds?
Upwards of 60, both of them, probably.
How long have you had the two pit bulls, sir?
All of their lives. The mother is 8 years old, and the daughter is 4.
So they are 8 and 4?
Correct.
And so you had the 4-year-old as a puppy and as a newborn, and
yes.
The 8-year-old came to you when?
3 months, maybe. 2.5, 3 months old.
Do you own your own home or rent your house, sir?
I rent.
A house or an apartment?
It's an apartment. It's a granny flat above the garages in the back half of the property.
And how much do you pay in rent?
Well, I'm actually doing work to the property, and I'm supposed to be getting paid for it as part of the work, for the work that I've done.
So you're not paying rent? When
No.
did you stop paying rent?
I've never been paying rent on the property. I was hired. There was some issues between two siblings.
How long have you been living on the property?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, this is what your case is about. On the 7th of August, you were walking your dogs, according to you, and you'll tell me the story. Mr. Roston's girlfriend, the one who just left the courtroom, I don't know whether you saw her walking the two pit bulls, but according to you, she lost control of them, was seriously injured, took her to the vet that performed emergency surgery.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they could not save her.
Yes, she passed away in the hospital 2 days after I believe it was 2 surgeries.
Okay. Mr. Roston wasn't there, so he can't tell me what happened. That's why I'm going to bring his girlfriend in later after I get some information from him. He has a counterclaim, and his counterclaim is that you worked on having declared his dogs a nuisance. They were declared by whom to be a nuisance?
The San Diego County Humane Society.
Did you have an opportunity to appear at a hearing?
Yes.
And after the hearing, they declared your dogs a nuisance?
Yes.
Well, if you don't like that ruling, you can appeal it. But that has nothing to do with me. Your dogs, they were declared a nuisance after a hearing. You had the right to testify. That's not something that I'm going to overturn. And the other part is that you had to get more insurance if you wanted to keep the dogs, because now the dogs were declared a nuisance and you have to muzzle them when you walk them. And you also had to get additional insurance. What kind of insurance did you have to get in order to keep them?
It's a renter's liability insurance.
Absolutely correct. And you do know, sir, that there are certain dogs insure if either renters or owners have those dogs, period. So you have to pay a premium. You had to pay a premium in order to keep your dogs.
I do know that. I do know that
and
now.
And show the county, well, listen, Mr. Roston, you know, it's no secret that, for me, I know that there are certain breeds of dogs, and the country knows, because it's been so well publicized, that there are certain breeds of dogs that insurance companies have declared to be inherently dangerous. I don't have to name them all, but the breed of dog that you chose to get is among that group. And if you choose to have a dog like that, and if the dog has at least one incident, then the county is going to say, we're not going to take a chance and wait until, instead of a barking Chihuahua, a crying baby is what these dogs are capable, not always do, but are capable of doing. So you choose to have those dogs. So I'm dismissing your counterclaim. The county declared your dogs a nuisance. You had a hearing. period.
The county declared
You
my
don't
dog
like
as
to
a
hear-
public nuisance
you don't-
because this woman
That's what
on
you said.
social media, yes, on social media, she spread lies after lies after lies,
Just a second.
calling my
Just-
dogs murderers and. Okay,
Sir,
that's okay
sir,
to do.
You had a hearing. You had a hearing.
And you know,
You had a hearing.
I had a hearing, and Your Honor, the reason because of the action or the event on August 7th, but because of all the social media that she incited, that she got pumped up and asked her friends to call the Humane Society, call them and call them and call them and call them, send emails, take pictures, follow these guys around, even though I'm not doing anything wrong. Okay, my dog's 8 years old and 4 years old. I've had them since they were puppies. And I am adamant about making sure that my dogs never get off the leash, never get off the harness. Nothing like this ever happened.
But they did.
Yes,
but they,
right,
Mr.
they did.
Rustin, Mr. Rustin, but look at me, sir. Look at me, sir. But they did. They did.
Indeed, and that
It
will never,
wasn't your
ever
fault.
happen again
Just
because
a-
she'll never be walking the
just a
dog by
second.
herself. That was...
But Mr. Rustin, Mr. Rustin, it's not to argue with me. I'm telling you, you didn't intend for it to happen. Your girlfriend never intended for it to happen, but it did happen. Now, I want you to think, and as you said to me, she'll never walk the dogs again. That's what you said.
That's correct.
Right? So
Absolutely.
you know now that that is a potential hazard because you have very strong dogs and your girlfriend wasn't able to control them for a minute and do a situation which caused the death of her pet. Now, I want you to think about this, sir. I want you to think about you walking your dogs, and your dogs were on a leash crossing the street. A 16-year-old who wasn't supposed to be driving ran a red light, hit your dogs. You took them to the vet because you love them. They operated on them. They couldn't save them. How angry would you be?
I would be very upset.
I
would be very upset.
Before you see how you welled up a moment ago when you were talking about your dogs and what she called them a murderer. So and you welled up thinking about that. And so I'm asking you that question. And are you just telling me you would be upset?
I would be very upset.
With somebody who ran
I would grieve.
very...
I don't deny her feelings. I deny the way she has gone on about it. It's ridiculous.
Well, you say it's ridiculous. I'm telling you that I don't know what somebody who wells up thinking about their dogs being declared a nuisance as opposed to somebody who witnessed their dog being killed. I don't know how that person would react to somebody who negligently went through a stop sign and killed the dog. And then you clearly said to me, my girlfriend will never walk those dogs again. And for that, I respect you more than the answer that you gave me, which is why I put the girlfriend outside.
So,
because
Your
when
Honor,
we come inside, she's going to give me a whole different story. That's why I put her. I just knew it. So
now, can I ask you?
Go ahead.
Do you think that if this 16-year-old kid ran a stop sign, that I would not be satisfied with him not having his license any further? Or do you think that I would go?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Killed because he killed my dogs.
I have no idea. Your dogs weren't killed, sir. Your dogs weren't killed. Your dogs were muzzled when they're out. And in order to keep them, it's going to cost you money so that we're sure as a community that your girlfriend doesn't walk those dogs again. Now, Bird, would you bring in the girlfriend? Because we know what happened. You're walking the Chihuahua. The dogs got away from the girlfriend. That's what he said because that's what his girlfriend told him. Now we're going to hear what she has to say. And, sir, I would like you to sit down.
No problem.
I would like you to sit down. Good.
He continues in a moment.
I do not know if her dog had their leash on. I know that his two, they absolutely had their harnesses on.
Is what you're telling me, that's what you told you? I want you to tell me, your boyfriend told me a different story.
And later today.
You called them and said, my floor's buckled because of the leaky refrigerator, and I want you to pay $3,700 to fix them. And what did the company say to you?
They said they're not liable.
That's absolutely right.
Sarah Gordon says 2 pit bulls owned by neighbor Michael Roston attacked and killed her Chihuahua. Michael is countersuing for slander, defamation, and libel.
Now, tell me your name, please.
Whitney Falk, F-A-L-K.
Ms. Falk, I want you to tell me your version of what happened on August 7th this year when you were walking your boyfriend's 2 dogs.
Okay. I put their harnesses on. I walked them up to the top of the alley. It's very, very dark up there. There's no street lights. I was going to cross the street and go up the alley, continue on up the alley. I changed my mind. I turned left onto the sidewalk, and at the time there was a large Econo van parked as close to the dirt strip. So when I turned left, the girls stopped, and we were sniffing around, and I was behind the van, so I couldn't see anyone. And we're all looking to the left. I heard a noise to my right, and it startled all 3 of us, the girls and I. And
The girls, you're talking about the dogs?
yes, yes.
So you heard a noise.
I heard a noise. I didn't see anyone.
And
then
okay.
All I know is that her dog and our dogs met in mutual combat, and that's pretty much all I could see, because after that, once I realized
so what you're telling me is that your 2 dogs, which each weigh, or your boyfriend's dogs, which each weigh 60 pounds, were engaged in mutual combat with a Chihuahua, and that all 3 dogs had their leashes on.
I do not know if her dog had their leash on. I know that my 2, or his 2, they absolutely had their harnesses on. Without a doubt.
Harnesses and their leashes on.
Yes.
Yes.
They both had.
Is what you're just a second. Is what you're telling me? That's what you told you. I want you to tell me. Your boyfriend told me a different story.
Huh, really?
Story. He said, which he must have gotten from you because he wasn't there, that the dogs got away from you, and that's why you'll never walk the dogs again.
I never said they weren't on leashes with harnesses.
They were on leash.
He said the dogs got away. Okay. We're done. We're done.
Ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished. Over.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
She's campaigning for that. That's her ultimate goal, to have my dogs put to sleep.
I don't want his dogs to be put down. I never said that. I just want them walked with muzzles.
The incident that happened, that was what's called an accident.
I don't want any other dogs to be murdered again by pit bulls in the neighborhood.
All parties in the matter of Badian versus Coleridge. Steps forward.
Sean Badian is suing appliance repairman Andrew Coveridge for damage to his floors caused by a leaky refrigerator.
Mr. Badian.
Yes, Your Honor.
In a nutshell, this is what your case is. You have a home, and you have a company that you pay an annual contract to take care of all of your electrical appliances.
Yes, Your Honor.
I have the same kind of company. You pay them a set fee, it's very expensive, and you can call them any day, 24/7, and tell them I have a problem with my air conditioning maker, and they send a technician.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were having a problem with a refrigerator. You called the company that you were dealing with, and the company sent the defendant
Yes,
to
Your Honor.
fix your leaky refrigerator. He had to come back 2 different times. He fixed one leak. It continued to leak. He came back, or he or somebody who worked for him came back again, fixed the second leak. But during that period of time, your floors were damaged underneath the refrigerator from the leaks. And you want the defendant, who was sent by the company that you employ, to pay $3,700 for new floors. That's your case, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okie dokie. So let's start dealing with reality.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You show me a paid bill that you paid to the defendant.
I don't have one.
Of course not, because your contract is with Worldwide Services. You had no contract with him.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sean Badian says appliance repairman Andrew Coveridge is responsible for damaging his floors.
Now, how long have you had this company?
18 years.
Okay. Are you a businessman, sir?
Yes.
What kind of business are you in?
IT, computers.
Is it your own business?
Yes, and my wife's.
Do you have business insurance?
Yes.
Because you need insurance. So I'd assume, Mr. Badian, when you, some 18 years ago, started to do business with this company that you employ, let's call them Worldwide Safety. I don't want to name them. You determined that Worldwide Safety was a reputable business and that they carry insurance.
Yes.
I did that. When I employed my company, I made sure that they had sufficient insurance in case they did any damage to any of my property, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to assume, for the purposes of this case, that the floors in your home were damaged because your refrigerator leaked.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you also have homeowners insurance?
Right now, no.
Did you have homeowners insurance when there was a leak in your refrigerator?
No.
Because you do know that that's what homeowners insurance is for.
Yes.
So let us assume that the leaky refrigerator, which was 10 years old?
Yes, approximately. Approximately.
The leaky refrigerator caused the floors to become buckled. That's true. Why in the world would you think that it's the defendant's responsibility? That's number one. And number two, I assume the first people that you called were the company that you employed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. You called them and said, my floor's buckled because of the leaky refrigerator, and I want you to pay $3,700 to fix them. And what did the company say to you?
They said they're not liable.
That's absolutely right. That's what they said to you. What are you suing him for? You don't have any contract with him. You have a contract with the people who you pay. He's their agent. It would be like he was an employee of theirs, although I assume you have your own little company that they just reach out to you. You don't sue him. You sue the company. You're going to lose. But if you want to sue somebody, what are you suing him for? You have no contract with him.
May I, Your Honor?
Oh, you can't?
I'm suing the company because it was negligence of the technician.
No. You sue the company, not the technician. You have no contract with the defendant.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by 1. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okie dokie. You show me a paid bill that you paid to the defendant.
No, I don't have one.
Of course not, because your contract is with the owner of Worldwide Services, not him. You never paid him. You had no contract with him. He's the agent of the company. It was your negligence for not having homeowners insurance, which actually would have covered the damage to the floor. But you're suing the wrong person, Mr. Badian. Do you understand? I think you're a smart businessman. You're an IT guy. You understand exactly what I'm saying. You did your best. It was a shot in the dark. It didn't work.
I thought they were responsible because the technician came out 4 or 5 times. They couldn't stop the leak, and they didn't direct us to buy it.
Then you get hold of a company that you pay, and you say, this was not a good technician. I want you to send somebody else.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Once they come out, and then we have to sign a paperwork from this company. Isn't that a contract that I signed with this company?
No, you never hired them and you never paid them. The first time they came out, the second time they came out, if they came out 5 times, you never paid them because you were covered by the company that you contract with. Goodbye. We're done here. Your case is dismissed.
Thank you very much. Included. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge,
A fraudulent wedding.
deception.
He refused to sign the marriage certificate.
Why didn't you sign it?
Next Judge Judy.
They fixed it, but after a few days, it started leaking again.
He did very good job.
Well, I have to pay for it myself, I guess.
I believe it's right decision.
This case reads as almost a mini-series.
From Matchmaker.
The friend that you brought over and the defendant developed an affection for each other.
To Minister.
When I got myself ordained on January 1st, I thought I was helping out.
And after the reception.
A fraudulent wedding.
Deception.
He refused to sign the marriage certificate.
Why didn't you sign it?
This is Judge Judy. James Potts is suing his former landlord, April McDermott for car expenses and the return of his security deposit.
Judge, this is case number 64 on the calendar in the matter of Potts versus McDermott. Parties have been sworn in. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Mr. Potts, this case reads a little bit from your complaint and from the series. From what I gather, you rented a guest house on Miss McDermott's property. In what year did you do that, sir?
2019, Your Honor.
And you are a veteran.
Yes, ma'am.
And from what I gather from your complaint, the Veterans Affairs paid not only some of the rent, but also paid the security deposit for the first several months you were there. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
How many months did the VA pay rent?
They paid for June, July, August, September, and November.
June, July, August, September. What about October?
October also, I'm sorry.
And November. So the VA paid for 6 months.
That's correct.
And the security deposit.
Correct.
Just give me the month in 2019 that you moved in.
June.
June. And when did you move out?
I moved out February 4th of 2020.
So December and January, just follow me, were the only 2 months that you personally were responsible for rent.
That's correct.
Did you pay December's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he pay December's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you pay January's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he pay January's rent?
No, Your Honor.
How much did you pay in January?
In January, I started paying...
Just, no.
Okay.
Tell me, Mr. Potts, let's not play with each other. You know,
No.
I'm smart.
Yes, you are.
May not be youthful and lithe anymore, but I am smart. How much did you pay for January's rent?
The total was about $900 because I started paying December's rent in November, and between
Oh, no,
November,
no.
I understand. I understand.
How much did you pay in January? If you can't give me an answer, I'm going to ask her.
I did.
How much did you pay in January?
In January, I paid about $800, I believe it was.
How much did he pay in January?
$150.
Yeah. And you moved out in February.
February 4th.
So, and the total rent was $1,200 a month. So you paid $1,200 in December. So you paid a total in rent for this guest house of $1,350. Now, while you were there, two things happened while you were living in the guest house. First, you brought a friend over to visit you, and the friend that you brought over and the defendant developed an affection for each other and decided to get married. They asked you, because I assume they felt that you were the reason that they found each other, so that you could perform the ceremony, and you could do that online. Also correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
In what month did you become an ordained person so that you could perform their wedding ceremony?
That was in January of 2020.
Just for my own purposes, would you explain the process to me, how that works? Do you have to fill out forms? Do you have to pay a fee? What do you have to do? And
I went on...
How did you find it?
I did a little bit of research, and I found Universal Life Church did online ordinations. You apply, there's no fee, and you become ordained.
And did you do that?
I did that.
And did you get a certificate?
I did, Your Honor.
Do you have it?
I do.
I'd like to see it because that's part of her counterclaim. Okie dokie. And when did you perform the ceremony?
That was on January 23rd, Your Honor.
Also, in addition to doing this mitzvah of putting these two lovely people together, that means a good deed, putting these two people together, you also bought from the defendant a used car for $1,000. Also correct?
Also correct, Your Honor.
What kind of car was it?
A 2005 Chevrolet Classic.
So
yes.
For $1,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
In what month did you buy the car?
I purchased the vehicle in August. Your Honor, if I may?
Yes.
In July, the vehicle was sitting undriven, and I noticed that the tags were expired, so I offered as a show of faith, because I'd had an issue with the car. It was disabled. I offered in a show of faith to pay for the registration, to make the registration current, so that she would allow me to rent the car from her.
I heard the story. You're a person of very good faith. You ultimately purchased this car from her for $1,000.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's another part of your lawsuit. So you want two things. You want your security deposit back, which was $1,200. She acknowledges that she got the security deposit of $1,200. Her defense to that is you didn't pay the security deposit. The VA paid the security deposit, so you shouldn't get the security deposit back, even though there was no damage to the apartment. And you owed money for the month of January for rent, for which she used part of the security deposit. That's your defense to the security deposit portion, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That it doesn't become a tone. The second part of your lawsuit is, while you bought this 15-year-old car that was being not driven with expired tags, you say that this woman is so misguided or damaged that she agreed to pay for any mechanical trouble you had with the car, and you had mechanical trouble with the car which cost you thousands, which you want her to be responsible for. That's the second part of your lawsuit.
My request for the repairs on the vehicle were in lieu of receipt of the title, which I've never received.
Why don't you go and get the title? Did you give him a bill of sale? Did you give him a bill of sale?
I have the bill of sale, Your Honor. After I would refuse to give him the $1,200 back, he also refused to sign the marriage certificate. He wouldn't pick up the bill of sale or the title.
Just a second. Do you have it with you?
I do.
The bill of sale?
Yes.
Give it to him. Now get a title. Now you have the bill of sale. Could you put that bill of sale up there on the evidence desk so I can see it? Take down your ministry. Okay, that's dated September 20th, 2019. Okay, we're going to need some more specificity on that. You're going to have to put, do you have anything else? Do you have the title to the car? Are you the registered owner of the car?
Yes, Your Honor, I have the title. My mother was the registered owner, but she signed it over to me and also included a letter that she went with Mr. Potts to the DMV to pay the back registration so that the car would be not taken for unpaid registration, and he was supposed to turn the registration over to his name.
You want to give him the title to the car?
Yes.
Along with the note?
Yes.
Very good. Now he has all of that and the car. She's not paying for your repairs, sir. You understand that?
I do understand,
Okay.
Your Honor.
And Your Honor?
Perfect. And you, what?
He drove the unregistered vehicle in my mother's name to a casino and received...
No, just a sec. Just a sec.
Okay.
Come up. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Right now, I'm taking care of Mr. Potts.
Okay.
Who, his 2 months' rent that he should have paid for the 2 months that he was there is $2,400. He paid a total of $1,350, which means that he owes you $1,050.
Your Honor, I have a detail of what I paid for December and January.
Your Honor, if I may?
You're going to have to show me, sir, he paid up until through November. So it's December and January.
They paid a
December and January. No, they paid.
They paid a graduated amount. I was partially responsible for the rent from August, September, October, and November.
How much did you pay her?
My share was $300, $400, $500, and $600, I believe, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor. In December, when they stopped paying his full amount, he was having a hard time paying the rent.
Just a second. Were you getting a check from the VA?
They start out paying the full amount of $1,200. As the months progress, they start paying less, and he starts paying a portion. December, they stopped paying altogether. He was struggling. We lowered the rent to $850. I gave him every 2 weeks when he got paid to pay $425. He did not follow through with that. I have the return of deposit here showing exactly what monies he owes and the total of what was used from the deposit.
Okay, now this is where you're in trouble, Miss McDermott. We are eliminating, he had $1,200 in a deposit. I'm eliminating the $60 cleaning fee. Rent owed on 127. Per lease, extra money for an extra person. I'm not bothering with that. If he had somebody else living there and you let that happen, let it happen. And by the way, it couldn't have bothered you that much because you let him marry you in January. right?
Right.
Rent rebate to take money on a cruise that he did not use, came back on a cruise and borrowed money from family and friends. That's ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
While it may be true that the VA paid the security deposit, he's a veteran. Between the two of you, he has more of a right to that money, certainly, than you do as a stranger.
James Potts says his former landlord, April McDermott, is withholding his security deposit and the title to a car he bought from her. April is countersuing James for an unpaid parking ticket and for performing a fraudulent wedding.
Okay, so he owes you $425 for rent. Deducting that leaves $785. You gave him back nothing. Is that right? You gave him back nothing.
No.
Okay, so you owe him $785 for his security deposit. VA paid the security deposit. He's a veteran. I assume you're not.
No.
That was a benefit that he got. That between the two of you, he has more of a right to that money, certainly, than you do as a stranger.
Sure.
And the Veterans Administration may come back to you one day and say to you, sir, you owe us $785 from the security deposit that we paid for you, but right now, as between the two of you, it's your money.
Your Honor,
$785.
The representative for the VA told me that when I move out, the deposit would be
just
mine.
a second. Just a second.
Okay.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I just said that to you, and you can't tell me what the VA said to you. That's hearsay.
Okay.
I've deducted the rent that you owe her.
Okay, I have a detail. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have a detail of the monies that I did pay.
Go. Go.
It's on the bottom here.
What's on the bottom there?
For December, the rent that I paid on November 18th was
Now I'm
$400.
talking about for all the months. My share, $400.
Right.
Said you took $100, paid $300. Okay, $785. We're done. That's what you get. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Parking tickets. When Mr. Potts had the car, is your claim that he got 2 parking tickets that were your responsibility and or your mother's responsibility?
Yes, Your Honor. It was just one ticket.
How much?
$200.
Did you pay it?
No, ma'am.
You did not pay it.
No, ma'am.
Who paid it?
It is not paid.
It's almost a year old, and it's not for you anyway. It's in the name of Joyce McDermott. That's your mother.
My mother.
Well, that's unfortunate for your mother. $785. Now, the other part of your counterclaim is a fraudulent wedding. After this kerfuffle that you had with the defendant, Mr. Potts, about the rent, and I assume that back in late January or February, there was a kerfuffle over rent. Did you not sign their marriage certificate?
I was offered by the defendant to trade the title to the vehicle for my signature. In the ensuing time frame, I did a little bit of research myself because when they had asked me to perform the ceremony, she told me that Richard would do the research and they would pay all the fees. So when I got myself ordained on January 1st, I thought I was helping out. And then after I had moved out and I was doing a little bit of research.
There were no fees.
There was a fee required by the County of San Diego for a deputy marriage commissioner for a day that I didn't find out about until I believe it was the end of March, well after the ceremony. So the fee, the $80 fee, so I was not...
I did not know that at the time. The marriage was in January and the document was never signed.
Yeah, I know it was never signed. But even if he signed it, it wouldn't have been legitimate, is what he's saying.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have an ethical and moral obligation not to extort something in exchange for signing the marriage certificate.
I was not extorting, Your Honor.
Why didn't you sign it?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Potts is accusing his former landlord, April McDermott, of withholding his security deposit and the title to a car he bought from her.
Now, did you and your mate subsequently marry?
We are scheduled to marry again on November 13th of this year.
Where?
Las Vegas.
And you have that all set up?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. With somebody who is licensed to perform weddings?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have family and friends coming?
One daughter and son-in-law.
Was anyone there?
14 family members that came from Arizona and California. We all went on a cruise directly after the ceremony, and that's why the original was not signed that day.
Who went?
My fiance,
The plaintiff is plaintiff too?
and all of our family. For everybody, 16 people.
Did you pay, sir?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
They took you. They took you as a guest.
Yes, Your Honor, along with the other 14.
I don't care about anybody else. Well, there are other family members. You're not a family member. They took you as a guest. When did she ask you to sign the marriage license? On what date?
When I asked her for the title to my car, I have that
On what
here.
date?
I believe the first time that she asked was on February 19th of 2020.
And where did that conversation take place?
In text, Your Honor.
May I see them?
You may.
I actually think that that was pretty nasty, Mr. Potts, not to sign the marriage certificate. You had nice people. You lived in a nice guest house, practically for free, with the VA picking up the majority of the tab. They were nice people. They took you on a vacation. They paid for it.
They didn't ask me if I wanted to go. I'd never wanted to go on a cruise, Your Honor.
Well, I think, sir, that you have an ethical and moral obligation, if you sign on to officiate at a wedding, not to extort something in exchange for signing the marriage. Why didn't you sign it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, why didn't you sign it? In February. Just tell me why you didn't sign it in February.
Because in February...
Give me the reason.
When she was in Hawaii, she told me that she would pay me my deposit, she would give me my title when she got back. When I asked her for the deposit and the title...
Why didn't you sign the marriage certificate the first time? You're supposed to sign it the day of the marriage.
Right, Your Honor.
I'm an officiant. I have performed hundreds of weddings in my lifetime as a judge. The day of the wedding, the day that I perform the ceremony, I sign it, I put it in an envelope, I put a stamp on it, and the first thing I do is to put it in a mailbox. So I'm certain that I have fulfilled my obligation. Why didn't you do that?
Your Honor, this was my first ceremony ever. I was just ordained on January 1st, as you know.
Good. That just cost you $785. You're happy. I hope you're happy in Vegas.
Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
What did you find when you got there?
My car on top of 9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
He says he wasn't even there. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder.
Judge Judy.
I believe she was a fair judge. I don't believe she was being really fair this time.
I do feel Judge Judy was fair in the judgment.
There were a lot of details that were not brought out.
I do feel that there was some stuff I didn't get to address as well, but she did the best she can.
I told her I was going to be late with the rent.
Well, he's a gambler.
I was having a problem getting it.
He had gambled the money away that he was supposed to pay the rent with.
I was going to go and get the rent when she told me to get out.
And I had just had it at that point.
I don't know if it was fair, but I felt that that was an appropriate response to how I was being treated.
That was my mistake. I should have had it signed right away, directly after the marriage, so I take that on my own shoulders.
She wished it was a bad dream.
You were awakened by what, 4 o'clock in the morning?
My phone.
Reality was an eye-opener.
And what did you find when you got there?
My car on top of 9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
Now her nightmare continues.
He says he wasn't even there. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder.
This is Judge Judy. Brianna Collins is suing her former friend, Nicholas Brown, for driving her car without permission and wrecking it.
Judge, this is case number 63 on the calendar in the matter of Collins versus Brown. Parties have been sworn in.
Miss Collins, it is your claim that the defendant, who, according to you, you knew only slightly, took your car without permission on August 11th of this year and had a bad accident with it. You want him to be responsible for all of the repairs. The defendant doesn't deny that he drove your car. He said he had your permission to drive it. He returned it. He doesn't know what happened to it after that. So why don't you, in your own words, tell me first how you know him, second, the story about the 11th of August when your car was in a ditch.
Well, I met Nick from... I take care of this older gentleman. He's kind of like an uncle to me that lives on our property. And he was over there at a friend's house right behind us. And that's how I had met them, was through them. Or just if he could have a ride down the road, is what he had said. And I told him after I put my kids to bed that I would take him. And I fell asleep in the process of putting my kids to bed. And that usually happens, though. So, and then I woke up on the 4 o'clock in the morning saying that he needed my help. And
you woke up. Now that's I know what you memorized, madam. Now I know what you memorized. Now I'm going to stop you. So now you're singing your children to sleep, and you were awakened 4 o'clock in the morning. You see how we're smiling at each other? And you were awakened 4 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't get easier. It's just going to get harder. You were awakened by what? 4 o'clock in the morning.
My phone. He had been calling me nonstop.
So your phone, well, you don't know that because you were sleeping.
Well, you're right.
Right?
Yes.
So you don't know that because, according to you, you were sleeping. But you finally heard your phone.
Yeah.
And answered your phone. And on the other end of the phone was the defendant. Go ahead.
Stating that...
And?
He had...
He said, no, not stating. He said.
He said that...
What did he say to you?
He wrecked my car. And that I needed to come and pick it up before the tow truck guy got there.
Okay, did he tell you where he was?
Yes, he had said that he was down by the state
patrol office.
Yes.
I assume you knew where that was.
Yes.
So what did you do?
I woke up my significant...
No. Look at me.
I woke up my significant other and asked him if I could use his car to go and see what was going on.
How did you wake him up?
I hit him. I, nudged him. Hey.
Well, where were your children?
They were asleep in their room.
Well, so at some point, what you said to me was I was singing bedtime stories to my children, and I fell asleep.
Yes.
At some point, you left your children's room and went back to your significant other's room.
Yes.
About what time was that?
I have no idea. I did not look at the phone, and I didn't think anything, I don't usually. I just get up and go to my bed when I'm told that, hey, you should get out of the girls' bed.
I told you it was going to get worse. Now, so you woke up your significant other, and what happened? What did you do next?
I showed him...
What did you do? What did you do next?
I told him I needed his car so that I could leave to go and check out my car.
Okay. And did he give you permission to take his car?
Yes.
So you drove alone to the state patrol office area?
Yeah, it wasn't exactly there, but down the road.
And what?
9 fence posts and chain link fence wrapped underneath of it.
And where was the defendant?
Walking up to me, telling me that he was sorry.
Just a second. So he was walking up to you?
Yes.
Did you both wait for a tow truck?
Yes and no.
Is not an answer.
No and yes. I had went back. He had thought that we could tow my car myself. And it did, because it didn't look like it was as bad as it had seemed, I guess. So he opened my trunk and he tied together my jumper cables and he hooked it to my car. And I was like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Just stop. And so I went back home in my boyfriend's car to go and get the truck and bring the truck there so that we could tow the truck home and not have to pay for a tow truck. But it didn't work out like that. By the time I had
Well, how did it work out?
By the time I got back to the accident, the tow truck guy was already there and attempting to get my car off of this fence post.
And?
And it cost us $350 for them to tow it off of there into my house.
Just a second. Where was the defendant?
Standing right there.
Okay. Did anyone make a police report?
I have no idea. All I did was file, I didn't press any charges or anything on him while he's sitting in jail.
I just want to see a police report. When there's an accident like this, there's usually a police report.
I don't have one. I was never given one.
Well, you have to call the police in order to them to write a report. They're not sitting around waiting say, oh, gee, maybe I should drive by this area and see if there was an accident?
Yes, I was.
So you didn't make.
I didn't.
You didn't call the police.
They were already there.
The police were there.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, interesting. When did the police get there?
Before I arrived. I'm not sure.
So there is a police report somewhere. There has to
yes.
be. If the police were there, there has to be a police report.
Yes. I wasn't the one that wrecked the car. I didn't really talk to the cops.
That doesn't matter. Well, but you were the owner of the car.
Yes.
So the owner of the car, if the police are taking a report, they take down the name of the driver and the owner.
And that was all.
Now, you knew you were coming to court today. You live in Los Angeles?
No.
Where do you live?
In Washington, Moses Lake, Washington.
In the state of Washington? Yes. Well, this may come as a surprise to you, but in court you're supposed to bring evidence. And if the police were on the scene, the police would have recorded who was driving the car, who was the owner of the car when it ended up in a ditch. Isn't that what you said to me in your answer, sir?
Yes, it is.
So, do you have a copy of the police report?
No, I don't.
Well, why don't you get it? She's alleging that you took her car, or at least that you were the driver of the car. How many police responded to that? One car or more than one car?
I have no idea.
How many police cars were there?
When I had arrived, there was one. By the time it was all over, there was 3.
So there were 3 police cars, and according to you, he was there.
Yes.
Because you told me a moment ago that he was there when you arrived. And if the police were there when you arrived, he must have been there, which could settle the whole thing, right? All you need is a police report. So I am going to do this for you. I'm dismissing your case.
I have text messages.
Without prejudice to you furnishing me a police report. And if the police report, which it will, indicates that he was the driver of the car, I will enter a judgment for you in the amount you request, which is $3,000. But the police report must say that he was on the scene and was driving the car. Do you understand?
Yes, I believe that I have, actually, because the photos that I brought were from the police. They had emailed it to me. I believe that I have that, in my email.
You believe that you have a copy of the police report that says the defendant was at the scene when they were there and had been driving the car?
It does state that Nick Brown is the one that wrecked it, yes. I'm pretty sure, yes.
Well, take a look at it. Take a look at the report.
Because he received the ticket and
No.
So
No.
I never saw any of it.
Well, let's see. Just find it for me. I'm more than happy to look at it. Mr. Brown, they wouldn't make up your name, right?
No, they wouldn't.
No, I guess I don't. All it is the case number and everything. The case number and the photos and the invoice because I had to pay for them.
Do you understand what my
Yes.
ruling? All I need is a document. I will allow you to get it, but I'm dismissing your case pending you getting me that document. A document from the police that indicates on the 11th of August of 2020, they responded to a car, your car. The defendant was at the scene, admitted to driving the car. They don't even have to say that. If he was there, he says he wasn't even there. He says he doesn't know if police arrived or text messages between the two of you. I want to see the police report. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's very easy to get.
Yep.
All you have to do is ask.
Yep.
Thank you. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
My car wasn't there, and he was on the phone saying he wrecked it.
Left the keys in the ignition like they usually are, and took off. And I don't know what happened.
I'm just going to get the police report.
If she gets a police report, then fine. But if she can find it.
All parties in the matter of Watson versus Young. Step to the podium, please.
Rosie Watson is suing carpenter Kellon Young for a refund for unfinished work on her staircase.
Miss Watson, it is your claim that you hired the defendant to do some work on the steps in your house.
Yes, ma'am.
You gave him a check for $800. He left and said he would be back to finish the job in a day or two. A couple of days later, according to your complaint, an older gentleman appeared and started working on the project and was there for a relatively short period of time and left.
Yes, ma'am.
You want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Young says that you were a pest and a micromanager. He did $800 worth of work, and then he said, that's for the work that I did. I'm not doing this job anymore. That's your defense.
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me? With you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She actually wanted me to cash the check, and I would use the money to buy the stuff with.
So she paid for the materials herself?
No, she didn't pay for herself. It was out of the money that she gave me.
Yeah. Well, that was her money. So far, you haven't done anything.
Rosie Watson is suing carpenter Kellon Young for a refund for unfinished work on her staircase.
Okay, tell me what your business is.
I mostly help friends and family with their homes and apartments.
What kind of work were you supposed to do for the plaintiff?
I was supposed to repaint some stairs and then replace some damaged wood.
And when did she give you the check?
She gave it to me like a day before I started the work.
On what date did you give him the check?
On April 27, 2020, Your Honor.
So you're telling me that you came back to her house on April 28th?
No, first.
Is that correct?
Yes, but we first went to Home Depot together to purchase the items.
Okay. And did she put that on her credit card?
No.
Or did you put that on your credit card?
No, she actually wanted me to cash the check, and I would use the money to buy the stuff.
For the materials herself. And
No.
how much were the materials?
No, she didn't pay for herself. It was out of the money that she gave me.
Well, that was her money. So far, you hadn't
yes.
done anything.
Yes.
So far, she paid for the materials.
Yes.
How much were the materials?
We spent like $300.
Not we.
Or I spent $300.
She.
She spent, yes.
She spent
Yes.
$300. How much was the receipt from wherever you went to purchase the supplies? He said it was about $300. Do you recall?
Your
or
Honor.
do you have the receipt?
Your Honor.
What?
Absolutely not. He's lying to you. This broke hustler has stolen from so many people, he ought to lock himself up.
If you don't answer my questions.
There was no
you don't
receipt,
answer
Your
my
Honor.
questions-
There were no purchases.
Just a second. Okay. So what you're saying is the two of you never went to a Home Depot to buy supplies.
Yes, ma'am. I gave him $800.
Just don't get ahead of me. You gave him a check on April 27th for $800. When was the next time you saw him?
About 3 days later, he and I met at the Home Depot. He purchased one can of paint.
Just a second. 3 days later, you must have had some sort of either text or telephone communications to know to meet.
May
I see it?
Yes. Where it says okay.
Just a second. Okay, so you met at Home Depot, and that was on Wednesday, the 29th. So that was 2 days after you had given him the check.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, sir, pay attention. According to the text, you bought a can of paint. Mr. Young.
No, according to her.
According to the text, you...
I didn't
No,
just
that's
buy
the text. Well, then you should have kept a receipt. You said, I need a can of paint to paint the railing. Can you bring a chip?
That's for the railing. That ain't for the steps. So she's not showing you the right text,
now,
I guess.
You'll show me your evidence when you show it to me. When was the next time you went to her house?
We went that same day. Someone was already there working already that same day. Someone
was
there.
there?
Someone was there prepping, and the guy who
was
helps.
there?
There's a guy who helps me.
What's his name?
Charles. And Charles was there.
Charles was already there on the 29th.
Yes.
When had Charles gone there?
When I dropped him off, probably like 8:30 or 9.
On the 29th. Ms. Watson.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that when this gentleman that you referred to, an older gentleman, showed up?
Showed up, yes, ma'am. And he did about Mr. Young.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Someone showed up and did an hour's worth of work and left. So you did see someone. So let's not get fixated. Who you refer to, an older gentleman. Don't tell me what he did. He showed up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rosie Watson is suing carpenter Kellon Young for a refund for unfinished work on her staircase.
Okay, when you got back at 3:30 from getting the paint. You met him there, you bought a can of paint, and then you went home. Did he go home with you?
No, ma'am. This was on my rental property, not on my residential property. He was doing work on my rental property. He bought one can of paint, and he kept the paint in his vehicle along with the receipt. I never saw him after that.
Okay. When you got to the rental property that day, the next day, was Charles still there?
No, ma'am.
Had you seen Charles that morning?
I had not seen him.
On the 29th. You did?
No. They have not returned to my property since I gave him the check.
Didn't say, shh. According to you, someone showed up and did an hour's worth of work and left. So you did say it. You gave him the check on the 27th.
Yes.
Somebody showed up on the 29th.
And
who you refer to an older gentleman.
Yes.
Don't tell me what he did. He showed up.
Yes.
And you haven't seen either Mr. Young after purchasing the can of paint or this Charles since April 29th.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Now, would you show me a photograph of the steps as Charles left them?
Yes, ma'am. And I can tell you what this photograph shows.
Don't say anything just yet. Okay, so I'm looking at the railing. It looks like either the paint is off or was sanded off or was just off from where?
This is the only work that Charles did. He sanded this top railing of the stairs, and he put on the primer, the white area you see here, this is primer. About 1/10 of the stairs were primed. That's all the work that was done, period, at the end.
I got it. And you haven't seen them since?
Not at all.
Have you been in communication with Mr. Young?
Multiple messages following this.
Has he responded to you?
No, he blocked my text messages. He blocked me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsor scam. Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Now, Mr. Young, certainly this job was not completed based on this photograph, and I assume you did not have a photograph.
Yeah, well,
to show me a completed job.
Oh, no, not completed, no.
Well, of course not completed. Now, you want to tell me whether you were back to the property, and if you were not back to the property, why?
Went back and stayed until probably 5 o'clock. And I didn't just purchase one can of paint. We purchased more items than just one can. And
I don't know that. I want you to tell me whether or not you finished this job more than the photograph that I just saw.
Yeah, yes, of course.
That's very easy to...
Yeah, yes,
well,
of course.
show me a picture. Show me a picture.
I could, okay.
You knew that there was a dispute.
Yeah, only thing I have is this picture here, and and I have a picture.
Well, that's the picture that she showed me.
Yeah, that's the only picture I have that I took.
Then you owe her $800. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. We're finished.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm just getting the lay of the land here.
I live with my ex-husband.
Must like him again.
He's my husband.
Learn the new word.
Judge Judy.
I don't agree, of course.
That broke hustler owes so many people.
I'm not a hustler.
I'd like everyone to take a look at that scam artist's face.
You can't please everyone.
If he thought he was going to make me his sugar mama without my permission, I got news for that con man.
A day at the vet.
She backed right out of her own collar and she took off.
Became a week of worry.
We spent, all 7 days out looking.
Fortunately, the dog came back.
She was a mess.
Is the doctor in the doghouse?
She was yelling at me on the phone.
She actually told me it was all my fault that my dog had gotten out.
I said, we are both at fault.
No, actually, that's not true.
This is Judge Judy. Tiffany Best is suing veterinarian Dr. Angelina Beeks for losing her Australian Shepherd, Callie.
Judge, this is case number 50 on the calendar in the matter of Best versus Beeks. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Thanks, Bert. Miss Best, you have a dog. What kind?
She's an Australian Shepherd.
How long? What kind of facility do the defendants own?
It's a veterinary mobile clinic.
And who is the vet?
I am, Your Honor.
Do you have an office in addition to having the mobile clinic?
No, I do not. I go to several different places in the high desert where they don't have veterinarians. My main purpose is to help spay and neuter dogs and cats so we're not killing so many in the shelters. So I go where there aren't vets. And
okay. Where did you go to school?
Ross University Veterinary Medicine in the Caribbean.
How long a program is that?
It takes about 4 years. You have 3 years on the island. And then
what do you mean
have
about?
Some
What is
students
about?
don't take a break and they'll get out in 3.5 years. So some of us do 4 years, some do 3.5. I did 4.
Where in the Caribbean?
So you do 3 years down on the island in St. Kitts, and then you do your last year here in the United States at one of the veterinarian schools. My last year was at LSU in Baton Rouge.
And in what year did you attend there?
2010, and I graduated in 2014.
So you started in the Caribbean in 2010?
Yeah, it was, I believe I started in May of 2010, and then I finished at LSU in June of 2014.
And in what state are you board certified?
California.
Have you ever had a veterinary practice other than a mobile?
At a practice for 3.5 years. I worked at Bear Valley Animal Hospital in Apple Valley for 3.5 years. I was one of the main surgeons for spay and neuter and other surgeries.
You had your dog for how long before you decided to have her spayed?
I had her for a year. What had happened was we were going to have her spayed previously, but we had a neighbor's dog jump the fence and she ended up pregnant. So what we did is we waited until she was done. She had the puppies in June, and then I scheduled this for the 31st of August.
Just a minute. She had the puppies in June?
Yes, in June.
June what?
It was middle of June. I believe it was June 18th.
How many puppies did she have? All of this becomes relevant. All be tied together.
Oh,
how many puppies did she have?
She had 9.
What was the father of these 9 puppies? What kind of dog?
German Shepherd.
So they were big puppies?
Yeah. They weren't very big, but I've never delivered puppies before, so I don't really have anything to base it off of.
And all 9 puppies survived?
Yes.
And did you give them away, sell them? What did you do?
I gave them away, actually, to friends and family.
How old were they when you gave them away?
9 weeks.
Okay, and during the first 6, 7 weeks, during that period of time, your dog nursed the puppies, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is your lawsuit. About 2 months after she had the puppies, you scheduled because you didn't want to have that kind of accident again.
Yes, ma'am.
And you do understand that if you didn't intend to breed her, she should have been spayed well before she was a year old.
Oh, okay.
You do get that?
I do now. I haven't had to do it before.
Because she had already been through at least one heat period.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. She went to the defendants. While she was in the defendant's care, she escaped, and she was gone, according to you, for 7 days.
Yes.
Fortunately, she made her way home, and she's back.
Yes.
And your lawsuit is for $5,000. You want both actual damages for the vet services and the punitive damages of just for losing the dog. I don't understand. You'll have to explain that to me, other than the fact that you were probably very upset that the dog was missing, which I actually do understand. I don't know whether that's something that you can be compensated for, unless, of course, you went and sought psychiatric care as a result of this. So you have some sort of damage. I don't know how to gauge your sadness because the puppy was missing. In any event, what day did you bring the puppy to the defendant, or what day did the defendant pick the puppy up?
I dropped off my dog, Callie, on August 31st at 9:35 in the morning.
And where is the defendant located?
About 10 miles, dirt area, dirt fields, horse property out there.
When you dropped it off, did you drop it off to this mobile vet unit, or did you drop it off to a house?
It was her home, but the mobile vet unit is parked in front, inside the gate.
Did you see any other dogs there?
Yes, there was a whole line of vehicles. So what we had to do is line up and then let them know we were there, sign the paperwork, and then they would send somebody out to get our animal from us.
On what date were you notified that the dog was missing?
It was the same day, August 31st, and I got a phone call between 11:43 and 11:44 a.m. So 2 hours later. Yes.
Who did you speak to?
It was either Eric or Derek. It was hard to understand over the phone. He had called me.
Who's Derek Eric? Just one second. Who's Derek Eric?
It's Garrett. Garrett is my surgical technician.
Is he here today?
No, he is not. My son, who has been helping me since COVID. He was the one he's also helping out as a veterinary assistant. So he was the one who actually went to get the dog to bring it to the truck to be spayed, and that's who it got away from.
Okay, so you got the call.
Yes, I got the phone call, and he just told me he sounded very panicked, which rightfully so, I understood that. He was very panicked. He said, could you please come back over? I was just told to call you to see if the owner would come help look for your dog, and I said I was baffled. And he said that, well, a slip leash wasn't used, and the front gate was left open to the property. And he said that the front gate is never left open when there's other animals there.
Did he say who left it open?
No, he did not. He said that there's a newer employee working there and that he basically blamed him. And I didn't get a name until later on. So I loaded up my kids, and my daughter was mid-school on the distance learning. I had to take her off of it, apologize to the teacher, load them in the truck, and rush over there. And so when I got there, Miss Beeks, sorry.
No, it's Dr. Beeks.
Dr. Beeks was outside. She didn't say anything to me. She didn't acknowledge me. She just stood there with her arms crossed and a dirty look on her face. And I followed Garrett. I apologize for messing his name up earlier. He told me to get back in the vehicle and follow him, and he'll take me to where Callie was last seen. And I did. I followed him in the vehicle. We saw no signs of her, but then we saw, I believe, Chris. I think that is her son's name. We saw him, and he was running out there looking for her. He had Callie's leash and collar in his hands, and he was running up the sides of the hills. Because, like I said, out there, it's all dirt. It's just fields, dirt, and sporadic homes.
On what date did Kelly return home?
September 6th, around 5 p.m.
Tell me how that happened.
To be honest, we were out looking. We spent, all 7 days out looking. It was over 100-degree temperature. There were a few rescues that had reached out and said, always try to take the same path home. And, we would do the little treats out the door that were her favorite with my kids, trying to find her. So we would always take the same path back, hoping that she would just catch a scent. We were told that dogs can smell for up to a mile. So we were just very hopeful. So, yeah, she dug a hole in the backyard to get in. You were in the house when you saw her, or did she come to the door? She came to the door. I was cooking dinner. It was around 5 o'clock. We usually went out.
She smelled dinner.
Maybe. But, yeah, she dug a hole. We put some rocks in it to cover it so that we did keep 2 puppies so they don't get out. And she was panting. She was very skinny. She was very dirty. There was nothing bleeding or anything like that, but she had burrs stuck in her. She was a mess and very thirsty, but she was a mess. She was a mess.
Do you have a picture of Kelly?
Before or when she came home?
Both.
Okay, I sure do.
I would also, just for my own curiosity, love to see pictures of the puppies that you kept.
Oh, man, I did not bring a picture. Oh, wait, yes, I do. I do have one picture of one of the puppies that we have. Okay, so that's my girl. This is actually just a couple weeks ago. She was just laying there, and they're indoor-outdoor dogs. My dogs do not stay outside all day long. Of course, if we're gone, they go outside because
So this is this is a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. And
okay.
then
And the other picture that you have?
The other picture that I have, that's the only picture I took. I was too excited when she got home and wanted to check her out, but that's when she got home. That's the back slider. She was scratching on the slider. I opened the door, and Remy was right there. That's one of her puppies, Remy. But she was just dirty. Her fur is very soft, and it just lays down flat. Her fur was stuck up in all areas just from the gunk, but it was over 100 degrees for that entire week.
Okay, I'm sure you were happy to see her, and that puppy's as cute as a bug's ear. That puppy is adorable.
Thank you.
You took Kelly to the vet. Do you have the vet bill?
I do have a vet bill.
May I see it, please?
Yes. And I did get the county voucher for $50, but because I used that, I won't be able to use it again because there's a limit on how many county vouchers you're allowed to use.
Did you have her spayed?
Yes, I have her rabies certificate and her spay certificate right here.
So the vet bill for that visit was $204, but you used a voucher, so it was really $254.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Other than the vet...
Yes, I do. I had to make flyers. She did say she would make some, but the one that she made, she did send it to me. You can't tell that it's even my dog in the picture. It was just a very standard black and white, poorly done one.
So you made your own flyers?
Yes, I made flyers, and then I had to get the staple gun.
Just stop. How much were the flyers?
$34 for the flyers and $39.99 for the staple gun.
What other actual expenses did you have?
Other actual expenses were that I had myself and 15 other people out searching their gas. That we used a lot of gas out for 7 days looking, and I would like to pay them back because, you know, they helped out of the graciousness of their hearts, but that is something that I believe they deserve back.
What else? So far, your actual expenses were $328. What else?
That was it for actual, because the gas I totaled.
Okay. Forget gas. For your friends. Okay, now you want to tell me how this happened? Is your son was there? Is that right?
Yes. So I was actually in doing surgery, and I heard...
I got it. Would you have your son step up, please?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was very nasty on the phone. She wouldn't talk to us really at all. She just sent me...
Miss Best, where did you come up with the figure of $10,000?
Tiffany Best says her Australian Shepherd, Callie, escaped while in the care of veterinarian Dr. Angelina Beeks. She is suing for both actual and punitive damages.
Tell me your name.
My name is Christopher Beeks.
Mr. Beeks, want to tell me how the dog managed to get away?
I was just leading the dog from the cage to the RV, and as I opened the RV door, she got a little spooked, and she backed right out of her own collar, and since the gate was open, she saw, and she took off.
Well, who had left the gate open?
Whoever was checking in clients at the time, if they were still checking any cars that were at the gate.
The plaintiff says that you said to her that this was a new person.
I am the new person.
You're the new person?
Yes.
So the person who was checking people in their cars was whom?
Probably one of the receptionists who take the phone calls and sign in the guests. I was just moving the dog from one place to the other.
And none of those people are new?
No.
Prior to doing what you're doing now, helping your mom, what were you doing?
I worked at Dave & Buster's as a bartender, but because of COVID, everything shut down, and as they pretty much filled those spots as fast as they could.
Got it. And what do you do for your mother?
I just assist with any extra work that she needs at the clinic, whether it's keep an eye on dogs that have just come out of surgery, make sure they're still breathing, moving dogs from one place to another. That's basically the main things that I do as a volunteer.
So you understand, both you and your mom understand, that you are responsible for the actual financial damages that the plaintiff suffered as a result of your negligence. You understand that?
Understood.
Good. And Dr. Beeks, you do understand that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I would have spayed
far...
the dog for her, you know, had she had brought it back and had been nice to us, but she was very nasty on the phone. She wouldn't talk to us really at all. She just sent me a letter demanding $10,000. That's the only conversations we were having. I had people out looking.
Do you have that letter?
Absolutely.
I'd like to see it.
And this was dated, I believe, the 3rd of September.
Okay. So, Miss Best, where did you come up with the figure of $10,000?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And she was yelling at me on the phone. And then I said, hold on. She goes, oh, you're blaming this all on me. I said, no, I am not. I said, we are both at fault.
No, actually, that's not true, Dr. Beeks.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tiffany Best says veterinarian Dr. Angelina Beeks owes for temporarily losing her Australian Shepherd, Callie.
Where did you come up with the figure of $10,000?
Well, it's a stipulation to do something in writing for small claims court, so that is why I wrote the letter. I did that because I didn't know how much to put on it. I've never done small claims before. And as far as me being rude to them, that is not the case. She actually told me it was all my fault that my dog had gotten out, and then made mention later that that was her son. And I was never once mean to them. I was never mean to Mr. Beeks, not once. When I saw him in person, my kids were crying in the background.
I can imagine. I can imagine that you were upset.
I was, but I never once was mean. I even told him that I understand the accidents happen. And as far as not getting a hold of her, I texted her all day one day, and she never responded until the next day. So honestly, yes, I had to escalate it because she was the one not responding to me.
Your Honor, that's not true. I talked to her that very same day. It was probably around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I called her when I got out of surgery, and I said, hold on. I said, the collar was not on your dog properly. She slipped out of her own collar, so you didn't check her collar. And she goes, oh, you're blaming this all on me. I said, no, I am not. I said, we are both at fault. One, my son didn't put a slip lead.
No, actually, that's not true, Dr. Beeks. That's not true that you're both at fault. Your facility is at fault for losing the dog. Fortunately, the dog came back.
Yes.
I mean, if your son is new, then that's not plaintiff's fault. If your son, who has training as a bartender, is now a veterinary assistant, as you describe him, that's on you. The problem is the amount that you're requesting, even $5,000, doesn't weigh with what happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I mean, let us assume that your dog didn't come home. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, Kelly came home.
Yes.
But if she had not come home and was lost permanently, either to someone else or to predators, you could have sued the defendant for Kelly's cost, what you paid for her. That would have been one. Now that you got the dog back, you are certainly entitled to even the money that you spent on a staple gun, which you still have, which you may or may not use in the future. But those are your actual damages. And certainly this was not, there are things that are accidental and there are things that are on purpose. Mm-hmm. This was an accident. We clearly would say that this was not a result of anything purposeful on the part of either one of the defendants. It was an accident. And unless you can tell me that you had additional expenses that you can verify, like visiting a therapist to get you through this difficult period, your damages are $328. And I'm prepared to compensate you for that.
Okay. The only thing I was including in that, though, is my daughter missed 5 days of school. You know, she couldn't go to school for those 5 days online. So she was having a hard time eating. She was having a hard time sleeping. She'd wake up from nightmares. I mean, that's...
Okay. $328. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm not about to wreck anybody's marriage.
Her boyfriend failed to mention his wife.
She grabbed me and started beating my face.
He's the piece of garbage.
Heard the commotion. My son took off after the dog.
It was terrorizing. It was terror for me.
The other tech came in because he went out to help my son once he opened the door to bring the dog in.
The thing is she didn't. We were out every single day for 7 days. We never saw them out searching except for the very first day.
My son was chasing the dog. Garrett went with them. They kind of had her cornered down by the next property.
And I have it in text message proof that they only searched for 4 hours on the first day.
The area is, we're out in the desert, so everything is very big and wide. And
I just said that there was an accident that had happened at the vet. I said
she was able to get by both of them and took off.
As far as we know, Callie's still around here. We will find her. She's a smart girl.
No, she just had a collar and a leash, and her collar was on loosely, so she was able to...
She maybe even come home.
Pull her head out of the collar. And that's how she got away.
Oh, my gosh. We heard her scratching, opened the back door.
Oh, very happy Callie came home.
I couldn't even say anything. I literally just started crying.
Instability in the family.
I'm just getting the lay of the land here.
One sister falls on hard times.
Now you're living with your father.
I live with my ex-husband after being separated for 5 years.
Must like him again.
Yeah, he's my husband.
I never heard that before. Look at my age, I learned a new word.
This is Judge Judy. Cheryl Coljatt is suing her sister, Carla Young, for stealing her furniture from a storage unit.
Judge, this is case number 74 on the calendar in the matter of Coljatt versus Young. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, have a seat.
Thank you. Ms. Kojat, the defendant is your sister, and it is your claim that she disposed of property that belongs to you that was being stored in a storage unit that she rented.
Yes.
I have a few questions before I get to the facts of what was in the unit and how your stuff got to be there. Preliminary questions. Miss Young, how do you support yourself?
I work as a paralegal for a law firm.
Do you have a family, or do you live alone?
I live with my ex-husband.
You must like him again.
Yeah, he's my husband. He was my husband.
Was your husband? I never heard that before. Look, at my age, I learned a new word. Okay. Tell me when you rented the storage units and why.
I rented a storage unit for myself when I moved back to Boise 5 years ago because there wasn't enough room in the house for my stuff with him after being separated for 5 years.
Okay. And you took one storage unit or two?
I took one storage unit and put all my stuff in that storage unit.
How did it come to pass that you took a second storage unit?
In December of 2018, my sister was leaving a temporary residential arrangement and needed a place to put her stuff, so I rented a unit to store her stuff in.
Okay. Did your sister ask you to rent a storage unit?
Yes.
And you put it in your name?
Yes, it was connected with my first storage unit. So if I missed a payment on the second storage unit, they would default my first unit.
Well, I don't know that. And you don't have anything, I assume, that suggests that. Ms. Koljat.
Yes.
From what I read in your papers, much of what your sister says is accurate. That's what you say. Most of your big items took up a second storage unit.
No, ma'am. They took up about two-thirds of that storage unit. She had her own furniture in that storage unit also. I did not have the whole storage unit, and I did not rent it in December. I moved out in January 17th.
January. January. Let's start with you. What do you do for a living?
I'm on SSI. I'm disabled. And I live with
Well, why did your furniture have to be in storage? What kind of temporary facility?
I was living in Boise, Idaho at the time, and my roommate was not paying rent, and so we were evicted. And January 17th of 2019, I had to move out, and it was January 17th of 2019, not December.
Were you paying rent?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and now you're living with your father?
Yes, I am. And I'm paying rent there, too.
Is it in your father's house?
Yes, it is. It is my father's house.
You have to let me finish my question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's your father's house. And you said you were living there to take care of him. That's what you said a moment ago.
That, yes.
That you were there taking care of him. And is what you want me to believe that you're taking care of him and he's charging you rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Do you get any money for taking care of him?
No, I do not.
How old is he?
83.
And what do you do to take care of him?
I feed him, I cook his meals, I give him his medication, I make sure he takes his insulin. I get him up in the morning, I help him get dressed.
Well, it sounds as if you're pretty capable. Did anybody else do that before you moved in?
No, ma'am. He's progressively getting worse since I moved in.
Miss Young, do you know anything about your sister's living arrangements with your father?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and let's moved in January of last year.
He had services through the VA and had a home health care nurse that would come by the house.
Of course.
But Cheryl did not like that home health care nurse.
No, that's incorrect.
Don't speak. Okay. He had some help through the VA.
Yes.
And a home health care nurse.
Not a nurse.
When your sister moved in, other than your sister, does anybody else assist him?
Her daughter Skylar was living there as well. I don't remember when Skylar moved in.
Is she still there?
No, she moved out.
A year ago.
Don't speak when I'm not looking in your direction.
Your Honor, she did make a misstatement with regard to her furniture.
No, I'm going to get to the furniture in a second. I have another train that I'm taking down the road right now. Do you know if your sister is compensated from either the VA or from Medicare for giving your father assistance?
I believe she is not. I do not know.
Do you know if your father is eligible for home health care aid?
I do not.
Do you speak to your father?
Yes, I do.
Is your father charging your sister rent?
No, he is not. She is paying the cell phone bill and buying some groceries, but not all of the groceries with her food stamps.
Does that sound accurate to you?
Not quite. He once a month from the VA, an RN comes in once a month from the VA, and she does his meds and takes blood work and stuff like that once a month. And when I first started going there, he had a nurse's aide come in from a home health place, and she would come in and visit with him and wet mop the kitchen floor.
What about
lie about
food?
her hours.
What about food?
I purchased
cell
food
phone?
with food stamps and cash.
And cell phone.
I spend about $250 a month on food. I get $116 a month in food
I'm
stamps.
asking you about rent.
The agreement with my dad is that I would pay the phone bill and purchase food in lieu of rent.
That
equals $400
that's the
a
answer.
month.
The answer is you pay the phone bill and food, some of which you pay for in cash and some of which you pay for in food stamps, but you do not pay rent.
Okay.
Okay. And the person that would come in and see your dad when you moved in and you said lie about her hours.
Yes, she was there for half the time she claimed. I'm sorry.
Somebody was paying for the hours. Some governmental institution was paying for the hours.
My dad was paying it.
From what?
Ability. The VA would send him a bill monthly, and they started garnishing his money.
For the hours that she claimed to work?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just getting the lay of the land here. Okay. Now, let us assume that you are telling me accurately that your storage stuff only took up 2/3 of the storage unit. How much was the storage unit a month?
$103 a month.
And show me proof that you paid 2/3 of that over a period of...
I only made one payment.
A year and a half.
I only made one payment.
You made one payment of how much?
$103.
Okay. And in what month and year did you make that one payment?
May of 2020. She didn't ask me to start paying for the unit until my birthday, November 29th, 2019, is when she asked me to start paying for the unit. And at that time, she said that I could...
So why didn't you...
Can I finish, please?
So why didn't you start paying?
Because I live on a limited income, and I couldn't afford to pay her. And she knew this.
Then get rid of it. Okay, then get rid of it. So this is the situation. You didn't pay for the unit. If you paid for it for 1 month
never agreed
out of
on a
18
price.
months, that means you didn't pay for it. And when did you tell her to get her stuff out of the unit or start to pay for it? Was that in November of 2019?
No, it was rented in December, and the furniture was moved in there when she left her previous rental before she moved in with the guy that kicked her out in January.
He didn't kick me out.
When did
He was evicted.
In what month did you tell her
December
that you were getting rid of her
12th,
stuff?
2020. Oh, when I was getting rid of her stuff, I told her in April that part of her stuff had been moved to my granddaughter's house as she had abandoned the storage unit for not making payments.
What stuff had been moved to your granddaughter's house?
A queen-size bed with the metal frame that the box spring sits on.
Okay, just a second. So a bed? What else?
A bed, a sofa, an end table, and a cocktail table with 4 stools that pull out. It's like a round coffee table, and a dresser.
Okay, and your granddaughter is using that?
She is using them.
I assume that's why you moved it there.
She is using them.
And what did you leave in the storage unit?
Everything else. Furniture that had no value. Oh, there's also a TV that's at my granddaughter's house. She had a blue chair.
Is that in the storage unit?
That's in the storage unit. She had boxes of clothes, boxes of dishes, tons of miscellaneous items.
1 second. So my question to you is, you must still be paying for that unit.
No, I closed the unit in June of 2020, rented a U-Haul, remaining items in the storage unit to my dad's garage by unloading the unit when I got there with no help by my sister.
Okay. And up until June of 2020, did you pay for that storage unit?
Yes, I did.
Not consistently.
I was the only one paying it. I have invoices and receipts that go back several months. So I paid. I was the only one that made the payments until April. She did make a $200 payment in April besides the $103 in May.
And you gave my stuff away.
Yes, you did. She gave
warning.
it to...
She did not tell me she was going to do that. I did not find out she gave my furniture away until June 11th.
Let's do this. We can make this better in either one of 2 ways.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
Everybody has a reason for not having insurance. The dog ate the bill. My 5-year-old flushed it down the toilet. Everybody has a reason for not having insurance. And unfortunately, I've heard them all, so I'm not interested in yours.
Cheryl Koljat says her sister, Carla Young, stole her furniture from a storage unit. Carla is countersuing.
Better in either one of two ways. Either she can give you back the furniture.
I would like that very
when you
much.
Pay her for the storage unit.
I don't owe what she says I owe.
Listen to me. I'm making a decision now.
Okay.
This is not a parlor talk. This is
I
not
know
a
I
parlor
owe
talk.
her money.
This is now a decision. This is not time for you to speak anymore. This is me telling you that you can have this used furniture back that's been in storage, that's now being used. You're living with your father. Your father, I assume, has a perfectly furnished house. But you have to pay her the amount of the storage unit, which I believe is $1,700. Now, if you're prepared to pay her the $1,700, you pay her the $1,700. I'm going to direct that she hire a U-Haul, take the furniture from her granddaughter's house, and put it in your father's garage, if that's what you want. But you have to pay her $1,700.
Your Honor.
Say nothing. Do you personally want to pay her for the furniture?
Not what she's asking, because I didn't have the whole storage unit. She had stuff in that storage unit. A lot of stuff in that storage unit. Why do I have to pay for the whole unit?
You're not paying for the whole unit. She's asking for $1,900.
That's the whole storage unit. I didn't have my stuff in the whole unit. She had stuff in that unit also. Big stuff in there. About $1,100.
Fine. Now, I will direct that when you pay her $1,100 within 5 days, you don't need more than 5 days to pay her. If you have the $1,100, she is to rent a U-Haul and bring the furniture back to your father's house. Is that what you
pay
want?
her. Yes.
Fine. That's the order. We'll draft it. We're done. Thank you.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I'm her big sister.
We're family.
It's always been my job to help take care of my younger siblings.
Everybody blocked me and stopped talking to me.
Since I was a little kid.
I think it's pretty sucky.
I'm not sure. I think our
I don't know.
Relationship has been tenuous for a while.
I hope so.
And I don't see it improving right now.
That we could get back together.
Just one day at a time.
All parties in the matter of Andrade versus Etalai. Step to the podium, please.
Martha Andrade is suing fellow motorist Faribos Etalai for an accident in a megastore parking lot.
Miss Andrade, you and the defendant were involved in an automobile accident in a parking lot in March of this year. Each of you claimed that it was the fault of the other. What I'm gathering from reading your papers is that at the time of the accident, you had no... Well, that is a huge problem for you.
It is a huge problem, but I can explain what happened.
Well, I don't care why you didn't have insurance, because everybody has a reason for not having insurance. The dog ate the bill. I didn't see it. My 5-year-old flushed it down the toilet. I didn't get it because I moved. Everybody has a reason for not having insurance, and unfortunately, I've heard them all, so I'm not interested in yours.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why do you think this accident was his fault? I mean, I see the damage to her car, and I see the damage to your car. What I don't see is the lanes there. What were you doing in this red zone?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Martha Andrade says fellow motorist Faribos Etalai ran into her car in a megastore parking lot.
Now, bottom line is you had this accident with the defendant in a parking lot. You exchanged information on the date of the accident. The defendant's car, by the way, was totaled. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
He had insurance. His insurance paid for his totaled car. You were driving what kind of a car and what year, sir? Insurance company give you for it?
They paid $5,500 to the body shop, and I paid $2,500 to take care of the fixing the car.
Okay. In any event, you're here today, Miss Andrade, because you've not only had to pay to fix your own car, but you got a letter from collections from his insurance company that you owe $8,500.
A little bit more than that, Your Honor.
Okay, so now, why do you think this accident was his fault?
I was going to Costco, and he was parked on the red zone. I have evidence of everything. He don't supposed to park there.
Just a second.
Yes.
Okay, so he was stopped in a red zone, and?
So I was driving by to get a parking spot, and all of a sudden I just felt stunned on my car. I'm like, what happened? I think he started driving at the same time, and that's when he hit me.
Oh, show me the evidence of what you have. I'm just curious.
Your Honor, I have my picture also, if you're interested.
He says his car was completely towed.
He didn't say it was totaled. He said it was undrivable.
As a matter of fact.
Okay. As you can see here, his car is parallel to hitting my car. It wasn't me that hit him. I was passing by, and you can see the way he hit me. I have proof there was only a little scratch on his car.
No.
This is what happened to my car.
What I see.
You tell me why would this be...
Just a second. So what you're saying is you were driving by, and he went into you.
Yes.
He was saying he was stopped. You tried to get by him, and your cars collided. Is that what you're going to tell me?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
You want to show me a picture?
I have a picture.
You want to show me a picture?
Yes, sir. This is one of the picture.
I got it. I mean, I see the damage to her car, and I see the damage to your car. What I don't see is the lanes there. What were you doing in this red zone?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What were you doing in this red zone?
I was waiting for a space to park my car. And suddenly I realized that, I got hit. And I was shocked.
Just a second. So you were standing still waiting for a spot? Your car wasn't moving?
No, and she was crossing or passing, something like that, which I got hit. I have a couple more pictures if you're interested.
I'll see them.
Please, and
I'll see them.
The car wasn't drivable anymore, and
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I have no counterclaim.
I know, but the car took 2 weeks for fixing. I had a.
You don't have a counterclaim. If you had a counterclaim, I would hear you. But you don't have a counterclaim. You didn't file one. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no reason for you to tell me about what your troubles are. I believe that you had expenses over and above it. I would entertain it if you had a counterclaim, which you don't.
Yes.
Ms. Andrade, you don't come to court without insurance and ask for
I have insurance now, Your Honor.
Your case is just, you didn't have insurance on the date of the accident.
Your Honor.
Ms. Andrade, you didn't have insurance on the date of the accident. I'm not helping you.
But this is not, he's charging me for something that it, no.
Court,
Your Honor, please.
Courts don't help people who have no insurance. The case is over.
Fair. It's
done.
not fair what he's doing to me.
We're done.
I need you to help me,
We're
please.
done.
Ma'am, this case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And on the next Judge Judy, she got in a tangle with her former salon.
You filed the restraining order against her because she threatened to put a gun to your head.
Next Judge Judy.
What happened is that I had just purchased my insurance from a previous insurance.
I already had the insurance, and beside that, I paid $2,500 from my own pocket.
They told me they were going to send me hard copies by mail, which I never received.
To fix my car.
Said my insurance was canceled for non-payment.
Also, I had emotional distress about this.
There's no damage to his car, just a little scratch.
I didn't get any money. The body shop received that amount to fix the car.
The damage is in my car, which I haven't been able to fix yet.
We need all of us to have an insurance no matter what.
The virus sparked an idea.
When COVID struck, you decided to branch out on your own and have a mobile beauty salon.
Then she got in a tangle.
How did she defame you?
With her former salon.
She displayed on Facebook that I owed her $1,200.
You filed the restraining order against her because she threatened to put a gun to your head.
This is Judge Judy. Hairdresser Sean T. Jackson Washington is suing salon owner Lucretia Munns for defamation of character and loss of business.
Judge, this is case number 52 on the calendar, the matter of Jackson Washington versus Munns. Parties have been sworn in. Ladies can have a seat.
Thank you. Ms. Washington, you're a hairdresser.
Yes.
And so is the defendant rented a chair in the defendant's salon. When did you start renting a chair to do your work in her salon?
It was around a year and a half ago.
How much did you pay her? Did you pay her per week, per month?
$100 a week.
And Ms. Munn, do you own the salon or do you lease it from someone else?
I own the business, but I lease the shopping center where my salon stands.
That's what it's your business, I understand that, but the premises is not a premises that you own, you lease it.
Correct.
How long have you leased the premises and from whom?
For 2 years from Jake's Plaza. The landlord's name is Abraham.
How much do you pay in rent?
$1,200.
And I assume you have a lease?
Yes, I do.
When does that lease expire?
It goes month to month. It started month to month in April.
April of 2020, it started to go month to month. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Prior to the governor of California shutting down because of the pandemic all beauty salons, was Miss Washington paying her $100 a week on a regular basis?
She sure was.
And the governor closed beauty salons in March.
March 19th, yes.
Very close to the time when your lease was up in the salon.
Yes.
And you were going month to month.
Correct.
Salon in April of 2020.
I paid it in June for April. Yes.
That's not what I asked you. You did not pay it in April.
No, I did not pay it in April.
Did you pay rent to Jake's in May?
No, I did not pay it in May.
Then the governor allowed salons to open.
Correct. For 2 weeks.
Did you pay anything in June?
Yes.
How much?
$3,600.
Did the governor permit salons to remain open?
No. He shut them down 2 weeks later.
And that's after you had paid up your rent?
Correct.
Because you hadn't paid rent in April and May. He or Jake's Plaza was not going to let you back into the building unless you made up the rent.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. Now we're all set on that. Now, it is your claim that when COVID struck, you decided that it was a perfect opportunity for you to try to branch out on your own and have a mobile beauty salon.
Yes.
Very inventive, very smart. It is your claim that the defendant has a couple of items that you left behind in the salon when it was closed.
Not true.
Yes.
Some hair extensions.
Yes.
No, she didn't leave any extensions.
Yes. Now, did you have an opportunity? The answer is yes.
Yes.
And I assume that you had a lot of items there because you were working there.
I didn't have a lot of items. Basically, the things that I had was underneath my station.
And where were these extensions?
The extensions were in a bag that was under next to, inside of the salon.
Where?
They were next to a microwave that was in the cabinet underneath.
That's my hair. She's not telling the truth.
Just a second. You should have taken them. Do you have her hair extensions?
No, I do not. I sell hair.
Hair extensions? No. You should have taken them when you left. Okay. The next part of your lawsuit is defamation of character.
Yes.
How did she defame you?
Facebook is where you advertise your business. You have thousands of people who are your friends on Facebook, and whatever.
I don't have 1,000. Just a second. So listen to me. I know what Facebook is.
Okay.
I don't have 1,000 friends. That's why I'm not on Facebook. You know, it would get very lonely in there with the 1 or 2 people that like me and that I like. So I communicate with them on the phone. So you're lucky if you have thousands of people who watch you on Facebook. My question was a simple one. How did she defame you? What did she say?
She displayed on Facebook that I owed her $1,200 in booth rent.
Never.
And she had all these stylists and different people commenting. I have.
Just 1 second. May I see what you're complaining about?
Yes.
Because what she says is you owe her $1,200 in booth rent, and I would assume that that's booth rent after the governor had closed the salon and you were not paying rent.
No,
but
still...
after June, when you started to pay rent, and you did make up your rent. So I would, let me see, I have to do a Karnak. Anybody know who Karnak was? What's in this envelope?
No.
I would assume that these Facebook posts were made sometime after June.
Yes, they were actually made on the 13th of September.
Of September?
Yes.
Oh, she must have been very angry. Okay.
Yes.
May I see that, please? Yeah. Well, you know, just like you stiffed your landlord, she did the same to you. That's exactly what happened.
Judge Judy,
may I please see what you're complaining about?
Okay. This is her question on Facebook, and...
Okay, just a second. Is that what you're complaining about, where she defamed you?
No, I have 18 pages.
Show me where she defamed you on Facebook.
These are all Facebook.
She rented out rooms. Where is your name in there?
She never said my name because she knew proper protocol on Facebook. However, I do have a witness here that read what she put on Facebook. She called me.
May I see your name anywhere?
She knew not to say my name, and she told her witnesses not to say my name.
Okay, that's dismissed. You have nothing. Let's get to your counterclaim. Ms. Munns, this is your counterclaim. You say that she filed a restraining order against you that had no basis.
No basis at all, Your Honor.
Miss Washington, pay attention.
I'm paying attention.
Did you file a restraining order against her? The answer is yes.
Yes, because I have a Facebook.
Just a second. You say you filed the restraining order against her because she threatened to put a gun to your head.
Yes, she put.
That's what you say. Personally.
She said it
or did
on
she
Facebook.
write it somewhere? I'd like to see it.
Okay.
I speak the truth. If anyone thought they could sneak up on my husband, I'm pressing something upside the head. Okay. You felt threatened by that. Is that what you're telling me?
I felt threatened by everything that she said, from calling my husband and fake on Facebook.
Okay.
I have my witness here that read it on Facebook, and she knew, along with the 4 people on my voicemail, that she was talking about me and my husband.
Miss Washington.
Yes.
Pay attention. We're finished with your lawsuit. I've dismissed that lawsuit.
All right.
Now I'm on her counterclaim. Her counterclaim is that you filed a false protective order against her. Your defense is that while she was careful on Facebook not to mention you by name, you believed she was talking about you when she threatened to put something against somebody's head.
Yes.
That's what you're telling me.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, Ms. Munns, I'm going to deal with the part of your counterclaim order. That's dismissed.
Why is that dismissed?
I'm going to explain it to you.
Okay.
Because the plaintiff believed that as a result of your Facebook posts, she believed that you were talking about her. Now, you probably were.
I was absolutely not.
And when there is a hint of a threat, which there was,
can I please
in
pick
that
this up? Because
Facebook.
that is
no.
I'm literally
I'm telling you, I
speaking.
read it. She felt threatened, reasonably so, because the other Facebook posts, while they don't mention her by name, I believe she had reason to believe that you were referencing her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You didn't pay your rent when you were supposed to, and the only way you got back into your shop was to pay up the 2 months that you didn't pay. That's when you got angry and said to her, I want my rent.
And later today,
you ate the steak. You and your mother lived in a place and paid rent. And then you continued to live there and not pay rent. Why would you think you're entitled to the rent back?
on T. Jackson, Washington says salon owner Lucretia Munns defamed her on Facebook. Lucretia is countersuing for stolen and damaged property, rent, and loss of business.
Now, what property did she take without permission?
A human hair wig that she wore and used.
Okay, just a sec. Hey, tell me the things that she took without your permission. A wig, and what else?
And a blow dryer.
Do you have those things, Miss Washington?
Yes, I have them with me today.
You have the wig and the blow dryer.
Yes.
Give them to her.
We don't want...
Give them to her.
She's been personally wearing them. They're saturated. I can't resell them. That's saturated. That no one is going to repurchase it.
Done. Okay, now the last part of your counterclaim is for rent. For what period of time are you alleging that she owes you rent?
It's also for damages to the floor. She owes me
for what period of time
from
do you
April
allege she owes you rent?
Until she said that she was holding the chair until July.
That case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you very much.
What about the damage to my floor?
Did you pay rent and did you?
Yes, I did. And here's my canceled checks.
No.
Here's all my canceled checks.
Just a second.
I paid them all.
No.
I paid all the rent.
Yeah, in April. You didn't pay rent in May.
It says right here, rent for July, May, and April. So I did pay it.
You're not getting over on me.
I'm not trying to get over on you. I'm trying to explain something to you.
Then you have to,
can I please explain this to you? When we were shut down, we didn't have money to pay those bills. As soon as we got our pandemic relief to pay our bills, she was still responsible for her portion of the rent. She rents a space to run a business out of, just like it's your house and your business. I paid it.
You know, I'm not a moderator. Cut off her mic. You didn't pay your rent when you were supposed to, and the only way you got back into your shop was to pay up the 2 months that you didn't pay, and then the governor shut you down again. That's when you got angry and said to her, I want my rent. Goodbye. We're done. Finito.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
We were all supposed to pay our rent.
Jealous of what I got planned, my mobile hair salon.
I wish her the best in that.
She was paid, and she was trying to get money from me. She was trying to double dip.
At the end of the day, you have to fulfill your obligations as a salon independent contractor.
The friendship is done forever.
All parties in the matter of Taylor versus Wild, step to the podium, please.
Michael Taylor is suing his form of rent and relocation costs after an illegal lockout.
Let me see if I understand this case. It seems, Mr. Taylor, that you and your mother moved into a premises as tenants in September of 2019, premises that was owned by the defendant. At the time you moved into that place, that area, you had, in fact, seen it. And it was, in fact, according to you, in a state of disrepair, needed a window. But you moved in anyway. And you lived there in September, and you paid rent.
Yes.
And how much rent did you pay?
It was $1,400 a month.
You paid $1,400 in September, $1,400 in October, $1,400 in November.
Yes.
And I assume that both you and your mother work in order to make this money.
My mother was not working at the time. I was working.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a bartender, waiter in the hospitality industry, and I also am a music producer and mix engineer, which I do freelance.
Okay. Then in December, you and your mother were still living there, but you did not pay rent.
No,
correct?
that's not true. I paid rent.
In December?
In December.
Now, at some point, you called just your complaints about the house. When did you do that?
I made my complaint in December.
Okay. As a result of that complaint, the city where you live sent out an inspector.
Yes.
And after the inspection, the premises were found to be premises that should not be rented.
Correct.
Is that correct, Ms. Wild?
Yes, it is.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you are renting out an apartment and it's an illegal apartment, a court can't give you rent for that. Even though he ate the steak. And you know, I don't approve of eating the steak and then complaining.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Taylor says his former landlord, Lucy Wild, owes for the return of rent and relocation costs after an illegal lockout. Lucy is countersuing for unpaid rent.
Okay. Does anybody have a photograph of where you were living?
I do have some pictures, yes.
Could I see it, please?
Sure.
You and your mother lived there. You evidently thought it was nice enough for you and your mother to live there. It looks like it's a sort of an attic-y loft kind of place.
Correct. It was.
Is that correct?
It was a loft.
Does it have a bathroom?
It does.
It does. Okay, very good. But they said she shouldn't have been renting it because it probably wasn't. So after that, you knew, Miss Wild, that you shouldn't be renting it, even though he and his mother were perfectly comfortable there, September, October, November, and December, because you stayed January, February, March, April, and May, and didn't pay rent, right?
I paid rent in January, and then I didn't pay rent in February and on, yeah.
Well, okay, so you paid rent in January. Why?
I didn't...
You liked it.
Well,
I mean,
I
$1,400.
did like it. And I paid rent.
So you liked it? Then why did you stop in February?
Because the city told me that it was an illegal unit and it was illegal for her to collect rent.
Now, you're suing because you want your money back that you paid her.
Yes.
You ate the steak. You know what that means? If you go into a restaurant and you order a steak and the steak comes out and you taste it and you say, gee, this steak is terrible. I can't eat this steak. And you call the wait staff over, you're that business, and you say, I can't chew this steak. It feels like rubber. I'm sending it back. You are perfectly within your rights not to pay for it. Not if you eat the steak and then call over the wait staff and say, you know what, I ate that steak. I really didn't like it, and I'm not going to pay for it. You and your mother lived in a place, and then you continue to live there and not pay rent. Why would you think you're entitled to the rent back? Had you ever rented that space before, Miss Wild?
Yes, one other time. That was news to me that it was not a registered rental when he...
And when you called the whatever housing authority you called, what was your complaint?
My complaint was that I was still missing the window because she hadn't installed the window. And, well, that was it. Because after months of trying to get them to do the work, I did research on habitability and tenant rights, and having an open window like that could be an issue and be deemed as an illegal unit. So that was the initial complaint.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you understand, Miss Wild, you have a countersuit, and your countersuit is for the time that Mr. Taylor and his mother lived there without paying rent. But you do understand, Miss Wild, that if you are renting out an apartment and it's an illegal apartment, for whatever reason, a court can't give you rent for that. I mean, if the state says you're not allowed to rent that apartment, and what your countersuit is for the rent that he didn't pay when he was living there, I can't do that, even though he ate the steak. And, you know, I don't approve of eating the steak and then complaining. Do you understand, Mr. Taylor?
I do,
Good.
Coming from the hospitality.
Your claim is dismissed, as is your countersuit. We're done. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy...
Her car was totaled. She ended up in the hospital the day of the accident. Was there insurance on it? If not, I'm going to make you look so ridiculous.
There was no insurance on it.
Judge Judy.
There was a reason why I called Housing Authority. It was because she hadn't done work for months that was making my house uninhabitable.
No, they had a gorgeous place. It was beautiful.
It was like living in a circus.
I think that's what they do.
I was due relocation costs because that's why I didn't move.
They're just squatters.
Her car was totaled. She ended up in the hospital. She was in physical therapy for a long time.
The crash had question marks.
Yes, ma'am. There was insurance on it.
If not, I'm going to make you look so ridiculous.
There was no insurance on it.
And a driver won't yield.
I took responsibility for the car.
You took responsibility because the accident was your fault.
This is Judge Judy. Sharice Riley is suing fellow motorist Zero Leva for running into her car when he ran a red light.
Judge, this is case number 65 on the calendar in the matter of Riley versus Leva. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am.
Miss Riley, whose car were you driving on the night of this accident?
It was my car.
What kind of car was it?
It was a 2011 Nissan Altima.
Did you have insurance on the car on the night of the accident?
Yes.
You had liability insurance.
Liability.
Not collision.
I believe so.
Well, the insurance company didn't pay you for your car.
Not the car, but my bodily injuries, yes.
How much did your insurance company pay you for your injuries?
$5,000.
Did you have a lawyer or did you just settle with them?
I had gotten a lawyer.
Mr. Leyva, whose car were you driving on September 11th, 2019?
It was a coworker of mine. I was trying to buy the car the next day.
Don't tell me what you were going to do, what you should have done. Whose car was it?
It was a coworker of mine.
And your coworker didn't have insurance on the car. Of the insurance.
Yeah, it's on the... Of course. I believe the insurance is right here, underneath on the police report. It's AAA insurance, and then the policy number is right here as stated.
Did you try to contact his insurance company?
My insurance did, and so did my lawyer.
And what was the result of that?
They both said that there was no insurance on it.
I'm going to call up her lawyer, sir. That's very easy for me to do. Do you understand, Mr. Leyva?
Yes, ma'am.
This is not going to be easy. Was there insurance on the car?
Yes, there was, ma'am.
On the date of this? Fine. If not, I'm going to make you look so ridiculous because you know whether or not there was paid insurance on this car that was a valid insurance policy. You know that because she was taken to the hospital and she had a lawyer and they couldn't use the insurance on that car because it was not valid at the time, either because your coworker didn't pay the premium or whatever.
I bought the car the next day after the accident, ma'am. I took responsibility for the car. I mean,
just a second, that's not my question. Mr. Leyva, you bought the car the next day. On the day that you drove it, that night, was there insurance on it?
Yes, ma'am, there was insurance on it.
Not the day you bought it.
No.
The day of the accident.
Yes, there was insurance on the car the day of the accident.
Okay.
It's actually in my phone, if I could get it from my phone.
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
Her name is Jennifer, and the number is 424.
Jennifer what?
I'm not sure of her last name.
How did you get this lawyer?
I have the Jacoby and Myers papers. They're right here.
It was through Jacoby and Myers?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get a letter from Jacoby and Myers indicating that they had no insurance?
No. They had called me through everything and had told me that he did not have insurance.
Doesn't answer the phone. Yeah, there's no question, Mr. Leyva, that there was no insurance on your car. You have a counterclaim. That's how I know there was no insurance on your car, because your counterclaim owes me the value of the car, which you didn't own, according to you, the night there was in an accident. You did sign the counterclaim, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were stupid enough to buy a car that was totaled? Is that what you're telling me? You bought a car the next day, which is what you just told me, that you bought the car the next day, and you're countersuing because you say but you bought it the next day.
Yeah, I bought it the next day because my wife and I were originally planning on getting this car. However, we got into this car accident.
You and your wife's not here, right?
No, she's at home taking care of the baby.
Yeah, listen, the two of you idiots, according to you, went out late at night with an 8-month-old baby.
No, it was just me.
Just a second. You went out, according to you, according to your statement, you and your idiot wife went out late at night to a gas station because you had to buy distilled water for your baby. Well, a normal person, a person with a half a brain, late at night, if they needed distilled water for the baby, the wife stays home with the 8-month-old baby, and the husband goes and gets distilled water, if that's what you were going for.
Yeah.
Late at night with an 8-month-old baby.
Yeah, I went by myself. She wasn't in the car with me, nor was my child in there. It's right here on the police report. It's literally just me in the car. And I went because that's the only car that I had at the time, and I'm the husband, I provide, so I went out late at night to get the distilled water.
You said that the car was undrivable after this, Mr. Leyva. It was undrivable. It was totally taken off the axle. So what I'm asking you is, why did you buy it the next day?
Because the agreement with me and the coworker was to buy the car. Originally, I took it out that night for a test drive.
You know, I don't believe a word you're saying.
But that's literally how it happened. I'm sorry if you feel like I'm an idiot, but it's just, that's how it was. Well, literally, we had an agreement to test drive the car, and I bought it the next day. I could have easily been like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not buying this car. It's totaled. But I took responsibilities for that, my actions, and bought the car off of my coworker.
You took responsibility because the accident was your fault.
It wasn't my fault. I'm sorry. It's on the police report. It says nobody at fault.
Listen to me, Mr. Leyva, somebody has to be responsible. I have a feeling that the person responsible for this is the person that had no insurance, because she ended up in the hospital with 3 dislocated discs. She was in physical therapy for a long time. Her car was totaled, and according to you, you bought your car the next day. So I do have a problem, sir. And if you can't see why anybody who sits on this side of the bench would have a problem with your story of buying a totaled car the next day when, according to you, there was insurance on the car, which could have paid to have the car either repaired or paid for something, and you paid for it the next day, I just don't buy it. Unless the accident was your fault and you felt responsible, and there wasn't insurance, so you paid the coworker anyway, which I'm not so sure of. Anyway, you were at a 4-way intersection. Take it from there, Miss Riley.
The east and west had turned green, so I was waiting for my turn. Once the left turn signal turned green, I had went when I was halfway in between the intersection and where I was turning into. That is when we had collided.
And what collided with what?
He had collided with me. There's a diagram right here of me turning, and he had gone through and hit me. My car had been right on this side, while his car was where my car was turning.
What hospital were you taken to?
I was taken to Desert Valley Hospital.
Were you taken by ambulance?
Yes.
Did you stay there?
I was there for a couple of hours, and then they had released me.
Do you have the report from the hospital?
I do have the hospital papers.
I'd like to see it. Okay, now I want to see the police report. Is there a second page to this police report?
Yes.
What does that mean, special information, cell phone in use? Was anybody using a cell phone?
No.
No.
And that's totally useless. Anyway, you received files that you had, pain and suffering. So what you're suing for now is the value of your car. Did you have the car fixed or was it totaled?
No, it's still totaled in my driveway.
Did you get an estimate to fix it?
I didn't.
Okay.
I do have pictures of them.
I'd like to see it.
Here's a picture of it on this side.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, he hit you in the back. Got it. Do we have a value of a 2011 Nissan Altima? I tried to get it, but what is it? Yeah, got it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Thank you, we're finished.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I think it was a good decision. I even have papers in here that...
She's turning in front of me, and I was going straight forward. But, I mean, she's the judge. She knows the law, and,
my insurance had claimed that it was 100% his fault.
That's her interpretation of it. So I have no argument against her decision.
He even told me that it was my fault. Don't call the police. I'll give you cash.
It happened to happen, and I'm glad it's done. And it took about a year.
I'm hoping it's time to get my car fixed.
All parties in the matter of Vera versus Hardman. Step to the podium, please.
Carmen Vera Melgar is suing her ex-boyfriend, Michael Hardman, for an unpaid loan to pay his rent.
Miss Vera Melgar, how long were you and Mr. Hardman dating?
A year and a half.
Did you ever live together?
No. I would stay in his house and he would stay in mine.
This is about a loan that you allegedly made to him. Mr. Hardman says there was never a loan. You did things to help each other out. He helped you out. You helped him out. He acknowledges that you gave him a little bit of money, nothing close to what you say you gave him. While you were together, while you were dating, did you buy a car?
No.
Did you buy a car?
No, no.
So he never co-signed for a loan for you?
He did, but not for a car.
For what?
To take my car out of the impound because they impounded my car at his complex. Oh, no, that's different.
Just a second. So he paid to get your car out of impound?
No.
He co-signed for you to get your car out of impound?
No. It's 2 different times that I asked for that loan. When he co-signed, it was for my tuition for school. He never made a payment.
Co-signed for your tuition.
He never made a payment.
I didn't ask you whether he made a payment. I asked you whether he co-signed for a loan for you.
He did.
The answer would be yes.
Yes.
When did he co-sign for a loan for you?
August, September 2019.
And it was for that semester?
Fall semester.
Did you pay for the fall semester?
I
or
did.
You haven't paid it back yet?
I paid. Oh.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, tell me, what other time he helped you out financially?
Never. He didn't help me.
Now tell me when you gave him money when he lost his job.
I let him borrow money. I did not give him money.
When? When?
It was a period from February 2019 to April 2019.
So February, March, and April, over a 3-month period.
Correct.
So you didn't give him money in one lump sum. It was different amounts of money for the 3 months.
Correct, when he was unemployed.
Okay. And how much did you give him in February?
Do you want to see the bank statements? I didn't add up by the month. I added them up.
I want you to tell me what you gave him in February.
I don't know.
You said you didn't give it to him in one lump sum.
No, altogether, it's over $3,000. I don't know exact.
No, exact is what I deal with.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
These are dates. He asked me for money.
When you went to a restaurant?
Yeah, when we went out.
I'm not getting involved in
I
that.
wasn't going to ask for it, but he's wants to charge me for dates.
I don't. What's next? And you're trying my patience.
Melgar says ex-boyfriend Michael Hartman owes for a loan.
Now, I want you to tell me what you gave him in February.
I don't know.
You said you didn't give it to him in one lump sum.
No, altogether, it's over $3,000. I don't know exact.
No, exact is what I deal with. If you didn't give him money over in a specific time, you said he knew you were getting your tax returns. I'm reading your complaint. Your complaint said he knew you were getting a refund from your tax returns, and in the beginning, I loaned him $3,500 for his rent, motorcycle bill, and utilities. That's what you say. Now you tell me that it wasn't $3,500. You gave him money, or you say loaned him money, over a period of time, February, March, and April.
It's an estimate.
And I want to know how much money it was in February. I mean, did you keep a ledger? Did you keep a notebook? Did you keep a something?
My bank statements.
Well, I'd like to see them. I would like to see your bank statements for February. And point out, in February,
that's my
just
tax
show
refund?
me what, no, there's your tax refund. I want you to show me what you gave him in February.
Registration, rent.
No, you're just pointing to things.
You want me to add it up?
No, I want you to tell me from your bank statement bills that you paid.
This $500 is for rent.
Which one? Just
Rent.
a second. Just a second. So what you're telling me is on February 22nd, pay attention.
I am.
What you're telling me is on February 22nd, you withdrew $500 that you're ascribing that you gave to him.
Correct.
You say it's for rent. That doesn't say it's for rent.
It doesn't.
All that says is that you withdrew from your bank $500. What else do you ascribe to him?
These payments are for his motorcycle.
What is that? Okay.
Motorcycle
Card purchases,
payments.
that?
Or parts
Just
for
a
his
second.
motorcycle.
PayPal, Gums Motors, card $99.99. Is that your motorcycle, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she also in February give you $500 in cash?
No, ma'am, I do not recall.
Okay, let's move on. We have $100 for the motorcycle. What else is on that you would ascribe to him?
These are dates. He asked me for money. He was going to pay me back.
When you went to a restaurant?
Yeah, when we went out.
I'm not getting involved in
I
that.
wasn't going to
What
ask
else?
for it, but he wants to charge me for dates.
I don't care. Listen to me. I'm not getting involved in that, madam. Courts
Okay.
don't get involved in that.
Good.
What else is on this list?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did she transfer money to you, $200 in April?
No, ma'am, I don't recall that.
Is that your first name, Mr. Hardman, Rashad?
No, ma'am, that's my middle name.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carmen Vera Melgar says ex-boyfriend Michael Hartman owes for a loan.
Listen to me. I'm not getting involved in that, madam. Courts don't get involved in that.
Good.
What else is on this list? So far, we have his motorcycle payment of $100.
The gym I paid for.
Okay, is that your gym membership?
His.
Yes, ma'am. I
Sir.
added her to our gym
You
membership.
added her to your gym.
Yes, ma'am. And I do
Next. Keep going. Keep going.
The Palm Avenue, Imperial Beach, the money I take out it's for him, for his rent.
That's 2 payments of $500.
Yeah, he was
you have one
unemployed
payment
for
on
a
the
long
22nd
time.
and Hey, madam, you have to understand, courts don't get involved in this kind of nonsense when 2 people are dating with each other and they're intertwining money. So far, I have $100 for his motorcycle payment. Keep going. That's February. Let's go to March.
Hold on.
What is card purchase? Cox, what is that?
His bill.
For what?
For his internet bill.
Did she pay your internet bill, sir, for Cox?
Yes, ma'am.
I absolutely hate to do that. That's $181. Okay, let's go to February.
His motorcycle payment.
That's a second motorcycle payment in February. Where is that?
This is his motorcycle payment. This is another one for $300.
No.
The previous one was a part for his motorcycle. This is the motorcycle note.
Oh, got it. Okay. So the previous one was not his motorcycle payment, the $100. It was a part. Do you remember she paid for a part for your motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your motorcycle payment was to Landmark Financial?
Yes, ma'am.
$507 and $300. Okay, let's go to March.
So this is his electric bill as well, $201. And this is another
payment. Was that your electric bill? Did she pay your electric bill, sir, in February?
No, ma'am. I don't recall that.
I lived in TJ, so that's not my bill.
Let's go. Next March. Let's go March.
Oh, I got April.
So nothing in March.
Yes, but they're dates, so you said no. This is more money I transferred to him that he asked me.
Did she transfer money to you, $200 in April?
No, ma'am. I don't recall that.
That's your name.
Okay. Where?
There, Rashad.
Where is his name?
In orange.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning. You've been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Did she transfer money to you, $200 in April?
No, ma'am. I don't recall that.
That's your name.
Okay. Where?
There, Rashad.
Where is his name?
In orange.
Is that your first name, Mr. Hardman, Rashad?
No, ma'am. That's my middle name.
His name is Michael.
Michael Rashad.
I'm going to give her that, sir. Anything else, madam? So far, he owes you $1,288. What's next? And you're trying my patience.
It's money I took out.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. $1,288. And you're very, very lucky, madam. Don't give men any money anymore unless you get a note. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Goodbye.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid.
Next Judge Judy.
I thought she was very fair.
It's not fair.
I really don't feel like I owe her anything.
He's agreeing that I let him borrow money for rent.
Because we did share a gym membership.
I was trying to help him out, not to be in the street.
I paid to get...
And we got into an argument.
And throughout time, I would help her.
He got kind of physical. He called the police, which are his neighbors, that people he knows.
It was all part of a relationship. I help her, she helped me, and that's how I look at it.
Oh, I'm going to be single forever?
I hope to never hear from her again.
A tenant's move-out went by the book.
At the end of the walkthrough, I said, "Is everything okay?" He said, "Everything looks fine."
Then the landlord rewrote the rules.
I told her I'd be back to reassess it.
When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. Did you point out any problems to her?
No, I didn't.
You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid.
This is Judge Judy. Val McLemore says her former landlords, Vincent and Elizabeth Saldias, are wrongfully withholding her security deposit.
Judges, case number 60 on the calendar in the matter of McLemore versus Saldias. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss McLemore, you and your roommate were tenants of the defendants for 3 years. That's what I read.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this a private?
2 bedrooms, 1 bath. It was fairly small.
And where do the defendants live? Do they live close by or far away?
Well, I don't know exactly where they live, but as far as I know, Oildale.
About how far is that from the rental property?
About maybe 15 miles.
And the first year that you lived there, you had a 1-year lease?
Yes, ma'am. And after that, there was
and then
we were just on a 30-day.
It converted to a month-to-month.
Right.
You want your security deposit back?
Yes, ma'am.
You lived there for 3 years. According to you, you paid your rent on time.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a $900 security deposit. You were supposed to get it back.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do a walkthrough at the end of your lease?
Yes, ma'am. I did a walkthrough with Mr. Saldias.
Mr. Saldias, did Miss McLemore and you conduct a walkthrough at the termination of her lease?
I conducted a quick walkthrough, and I told her I'd be back to reassess it.
I don't care whether it was quick or took 24 hours. Did anything prevent you from having a longer walkthrough?
Well, at that time, I had received a call from my wife that stated that they were ready to turn over the keys. So I took a drive to that side of town and did a quick walkthrough with them and told them I would be...
Listen, Saldias, understand this. I asked you a question. My question was, did anybody prevent you from doing a longer walkthrough?
No.
And did you point out any problems to her?
Well, there were some obvious issues.
No, I want you to... I don't care whether there are obvious issues. I asked you whether you told or wrote down anything that you found that was a damage, whether you either told her verbally or wrote down someplace on that date, the date of the walkthrough, any negative thing that you found. Let's start quickly. Did you write it down?
No, I didn't.
Well, you're a landlord. You're supposed to write it down and give her a copy of the walkthrough.
I didn't know that was due at that particular moment. I thought there was 30 days that...
Well, what did you tell her that you found that was wrong with the house?
Well, I sent her an itemized list.
What did you tell her that I'm going to believe? When did you send her an itemized list? The question is when. Date.
When they vacated, there was an itemized list. Let me pull it here.
Give me the date that you sent her an itemized list. They vacated the last day in March. Is that correct?
Correct.
What date did you send her an itemized list?
4/20/2020.
Well, 4/20 is 3 weeks later. Had she already made a demand for the return of her security? Of course you did. Right. And after she made a demand for her security, question to you, Mr. Saldias, is on the date of the walkthrough, which was what date?
I believe it was around the 12th of the month.
12th of March.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying, Mr. Saldias, is over a month later, you sent her a list of things that you found wrong. You didn't tell her anything on March 12th when you did the walkthrough.
I asked him. At the end of the walkthrough. I said, is everything okay? He said, everything looks fine. I said, well, how long will it be before I get my security deposit back? And he said, should be 2 or 3 days. Shouldn't be long at all. Well, I waited 3 weeks before I made a phone.
Just a second. Mr. Saldias, I want you to be very careful with your answer to me. Do you remember Miss McLemore saying to you, does everything look okay?
I don't remember.
Do you remember that? That's a question.
I don't remember that specific wording, but...
I want to tell you something. Before you start fumfering around, I have a radar back here. When somebody isn't telling me the truth, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did Miss McLemore say to you, does everything look okay?
There were some items there that Miss McLemore and her roommate at the time, which I don't recognize the other lady here as being the roommate that was there when we rented to her. I pointed out to me and I've got...
I don't care whether there were any repairs that had to take place. You're the landlord. I asked you a simple question. Did Miss McLemore say to you, does everything look okay? When can I get my security back? And you said 2-3 days.
At that time.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. At that time...
Okay.
He actually gave me a hug.
Just a second. So now you remember it.
They weren't bad tenants, but at the time that they were leaving, the yard wasn't done. I have pictures to show you. It cost us money to get those things done.
Just a second. If you are alleging that between the 12th and the time they moved out, which was the end of March, they caused some sort of damage to the property, I will look at that. Do you understand? I will also look at the bills that it took.
The other thing I'd like to point...
remedy whatever they did.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to point out is...
So now...
From the time that they provided the 30-day notice and the time that they vacated, they didn't pay me for that month of rent.
Just a second. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Okay. Right now, I'm talking about damage. Then I'm going to get to the 13 days that you are alleging they should pay you for because they gave you 30-day notice on April 12th, so you want to charge them for that rent. I'll get to that in a minute, Mr. Saldias. You allege is the damage that they left when they left and receipts to fix it.
First off, there was I didn't notice it on the initial walkthrough, but there was window screens that were missing. I found 2 of them located in the garage that were beyond repair. There was a total of 4 of them. This is the cost to get those items repaired.
That's a problem for you.
Okay.
You should have noticed it. Take the statement, which I don't buy anyway. Next.
That is the 30-day. They could have never done the walkthrough on the 12th.
Next.
This is a 30-day that she provided, which clearly shows the date, and she could not have done the walkthrough on the 12th. If you see the documents dated the 13th, and that's in her handwriting.
Oh, okay, so that's the 13th. So yeah, I asked you, what date did you do the walkthrough?
Do you remember?
After.
I asked you what... Just a second. Do you understand? The first thing I asked you for was damages. I'm going to see what other damages. First thing is nonsense. I don't even believe that receipt. Next, damages, pictures, and bills.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Here, let me get to the pictures.
That's what I would like to see.
Also,
and then the bills.
Also, the plaintiff alleged that we had rented the premises because a friend of mine allowed us to put a travel trailer on the property.
Listen to me. Don't try to get me off track. I don't get off track.
Well, no, but that picture...
You're alleging.
In this photograph of the backyard, you can note the height of the yard. And as you know, grass doesn't grow that quick in 2 weeks.
So far, you owe them $900. Now we're going to get to your friend's trailer. What's your friend's name?
Gonzalez.
Where does he live?
In Bakersfield.
How long has he had this trailer?
At the time, he had just purchased it.
Just a second. At what time?
At the time that it's...
Month. Mr. Saldias, you'll never get where I'm going. When did he purchase it? Month.
March.
I don't want you to say anything.
Okay.
Unless I'm looking at you and asking you a question. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go back to Mr. Saldias. He purchased the trailer in March, correct? Is that what your wife just told me?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
When did you find out that he had purchased the trailer?
Well, the date that he placed the trailer there is when he had purchased it.
That's not what he told me.
So he purchased it... Just a second. Please don't help me. So far, you're winning, right? So far?
So far.
He purchased it the same day you put it in the house.
Yes, he called me and he said he had purchased...
Because...
He had purchased a trailer and I
Go
asked
ahead.
him... He said, hey, can I put it on one of your properties on Wilson? And I said, better yet, I have a house that's on Chester that's available and it would do me a favor so that the premises looked awesome.
Second, that's what you told Mr. Gonzalez.
That is correct.
Is that right?
That is correct. Yes.
Now, how good a friend is Mr. Gonzalez?
Pretty good friend.
How good?
I mean, good enough to have done that favor for me. He didn't have to do it, you know.
He wasn't doing you a favor. You were doing him a favor.
Well, I mean...
Don't listen to me. You can't come into court and think that the judge is stupid and that...
I by no means think that you're stupid.
Very good. So he wasn't doing you a favor. You were either doing him a favor or charging him to park his trailer in the house.
Now,
which one is it? And then give me Mr. Gonzalez's...
Now you're
Then give me his phone number.
Now you're speculating, but...
Then give me his phone. Now give me Mr. Gonzalez's phone number.
Do you have a pen ready?
I do.
661.
You want to check that in your phone to make sure before I waste my time calling him?
Oh, there's no need to waste your time.
That's the right number?
You'll find that it's correct.
Very good. Terrific. I don't believe that's the number.
3661.
You want to check your phone? You want to check your phone?
He's a good enough friend
check
that
your
I
phone.
know his number. So.
Number for him?
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is Mr. Gonzalez's trailer still parked at the house?
No.
When did it move? Don't look at her. If you don't know the answer, look at me and say, I don't know the answer.
And later today.
Did your girlfriend have insurance on the car on that date?
I did not
Is not an answer. The answer is either a car had insurance or it didn't have insurance.
Val McLemore is suing her former landlords, Vincent and Elizabeth Saldias, for the return of her security deposit.
Okay, is Mr. Gonzalez's trailer still parked at the house?
No.
When did it move?
Asking you.
Don't look at her. If you don't know the answer, look at me and say, I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer. I know that it was moved off when the new...
Miss Salai...
When the new tenants took possession.
When did the new tenants take possession?
May 1st.
Now back to Mr. Saldias. When did move his trailer?
I don't remember the specific date.
Well, you started to say when the new tenant moved in. That would be May 1st. Don't look at her, look at me. That would be May 1st, because nobody wants to trailer sitting there.
And nobody wants to squat in a house that believes there's people living in it as well.
You owe her security deposit. You may make a whole bunch of excuses. You can't make excuses here. She lived there for 3 years. You told her she would get her security deposit, and then you made up a whole bunch of excuses not to give it to her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900.
Your Honor,
that was your security deposit, correct?
Correct.
I'm not speaking to you. Correct?
Correct.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I guess she found what she was looking for.
All my life, I've never, ever had to give back a security deposit.
I did a quick walkthrough at that time. I didn't really look at everything.
There was no rush. He was in no rush.
I wish everybody the best.
Bring your case to Judge Judy. She'll get him.
All parties in the matter of Smith versus Maxwell. Step to the podium, please.
James Smith is suing fellow motorist Gary Maxwell Jr. for backing into his car in a grocery store parking lot.
Mr. Smith, this was an automobile accident that occurred in a parking lot on the 9th of September of this year.
Yes, ma'am, the 9th of September of this year.
What time of the day, sir?
It must have been about late afternoon, between 5:30 and 5:20.
What were the lighting conditions?
It was daylight.
Was it still light?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of car were you driving, sir?
A Nissan Frontier.
Soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you allege that the accident was caused by Mr. Maxwell's negligence.
Yes, ma'am.
Your insurance paid for it. We're going to find out why. But you had a $1,000 deductible, which came out of your pocket to fix the damage.
Yes.
Mr. Maxwell said that the accident was your fault. He didn't have any major damage to his vehicles, which is why he is not counterclaiming. Mr. Maxwell, what kind of car were you driving?
2008 Toyota Avalon.
Who owns that car?
My girlfriend, Debbie Antu.
Did your girlfriend have insurance on the car on that date?
I did not
is not an answer. The answer is either a car had insurance or it didn't have insurance.
No, ma'am. It had lapsed a couple days before.
Always a couple of days before. The check got lost in the mail. The dog ate the bill. The child flushed it down the toilet. There's always a reason. So you were driving your girlfriend's uninsured car.
Correct.
That's going to make my job a whole lot easier. What was your girlfriend driving?
My girlfriend had just had shots in her neck. That's the reason I was driving.
Was she in the car with you?
She was.
Where were you coming from that day, sir?
Me, Mr. Smith, I was coming from Stater Brothers, and I was on my way to exit a parking lot first, so I had to wait till they clear before I make my right-hand turn. And Mr. Maxwell, without paying attention...
Okay, so you were parked in a space, but people were walking in front of you.
No, I wasn't parked. I was already ready to make my right-hand turn. I was already out the...
You mean out of the... You were going out of the parking lot.
I was trying to...
Do you have a diagram to show me?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to see where your car was.
Okay.
That would be helpful to me. So I didn't understand it.
My car was right here, like the orange spot.
Had been parked where?
It was parked getting ready to make the right turn in front of Stater Brothers.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He hit me, Your Honor.
No, he can't have hit you on the side of his car unless it was snowing and he skidded into you. He skidded into you sideways. It didn't look like it was snowing.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. James Smith is suing fellow motorist Gary Maxwell Jr. for backing into his car in a grocery store parking lot.
Okay, Mr. Smith, had your car been parked in the parking lot?
Yes, it has.
Show me which spot is the spot where you were parked.
I was parked by right here, like the second parking spot right here.
Okay, so you pulled out of the parking spot.
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. Maxwell.
And is there just a second, is what you're telling me the defendant was parked right opposite you and he backed out into your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you have photographs of the damage to your car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it. Okay, now point out where the damage was.
Rear end to the rear end tire, right below, right here. Where you open the door, by the rear tire.
Okay, on the side of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
On the driver's side of the car.
But the passenger back by the rear tire.
Yes, I understand. Okay. Any other photographs you want me to see?
If you want to see the whole car, yes, ma'am, I do. I actually got a better picture of where the damage is by the wheel. By here, you can see.
Okay, so according to you, the defendant pulled out of the spot. His back bumper went into your driver's side, but the passenger door.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the bill that you got to fix the car showing the $1,000 deductible that you had to pay?
Yes, ma'am.
So they charged you $2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and your deductible was $1,000. According to what I read, the defendant got out of the car, you got out of the car. Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes, it's changed insurance information so I could get my automobile fixed.
And he gave you insurance information?
That was no good, yes.
I know, I got it, but
yes.
He gave you an insurance card?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you called to the police station, Mr. Maxwell?
No, I was not.
Well, how did you provide him with a corrected alleged insurance?
The police called me.
After the accident. Okay. So the police called you.
Correct.
And then it was determined that you had no insurance.
Right.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the damage to your car, you say, was on the rear bumper.
Correct. And that was done prior to us owning the vehicle.
So there was absolutely no damage to your car?
Correct. Not from this incident.
Okay. And what part of your car hit the plaintiff's car?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
The damage that he...
Try on this idea. Try on that you owe him for his deductible. You don't drive around in a car without liability insurance. Do you understand? Side of his car, unless it was snowing and he skidded into you. He skidded into you sideways. It didn't look like it was snowing.
If you look at the damage done to his
September.
car, it does not look like my car could have done that damage. If you look at the close-up dents, there's no way that bumper could have done that damage. I have pictures showing.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. We're done here. Out. Don't drive a car without insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
What happened after you made the last payment?
Told me the car was gone and then hung up the phone.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing, ma'am.
No, there's something wrong with you. What did you do with the money?
Next Judge Judy.
He also told me he was in an accident 2 weeks prior.
The only damages I have is what he put on my truck.
I feel that the dents were done 2 weeks prior to that.
Don't drive without insurance or you'll pay later.
You paid Mr. Cruz $3,200 to purchase the car.
A done deal goes sideways.
What happened after you made the last payment?
Someone else.
Now the judge takes him head on.
What is wrong with you?
With me?
I'm looking at you.
Nothing, ma'am.
No, there's something wrong with you. What did you do with the money?
This is Judge Judy. 19-year-old Chloe Raymond Smith is suing Alfonso Cruz for the return of money she paid towards a car he sold to someone else.
Judges, case number 82 on the calendar in the matter of Raymond Smith versus Cruz. Parties have been sworn in.
Ms. Smith, it is your claim that the defendant scammed you out of $3,200 that you paid him for a car that he was selling.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Let's start with how you've located this car.
I located this car through Facebook Marketplace. If you've ever used Facebook Marketplace before, it's just you could buy and sell anything through there.
Ms. Smith, you found the car through Facebook Marketplace.
Yes.
Do you have the copy of the ad?
I have it in my phone. I would have to go back, but it got deleted pretty shortly after. So the ad itself after.
Well, why would it get deleted?
After we signed the agreement, the ads got taken down.
This all just happened in September. Mm-hmm. Do you have a copy of the ad that you put on, sir?
With me, no. I never took a picture of it, never took a photo of it. I just took it off the marketplace as agreed on the agreement, and that was it.
Okay. So you found this on Facebook Marketplace a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. You decided you wanted to buy it. And how did you contact Mr. Cruz?
I messaged him through Facebook.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I have all the...
Just a second. I'd like to see your first contact with him on Facebook.
On Facebook, I would have to go through my phone, but we pretty much used our phone numbers to contact each other through the whole time and make all of our agreements and everything.
Get it.
We got it.
Get me.
We got it. Just give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Oh, it's actually right here. And it's going to be the first one right here on the top, and it has the date and everything.
Just a second. Okay. What's the date on that? That's August. Okay. Did you ultimately make an agreement
yes,
with
ma'am,
the defendant?
Did.
I'd like to see that agreement.
All right. Here we are. And then I have the other signatures just on a separate...
Who wrote this up?
My friend who's a realtor wrote this up for me.
What's the friend's name?
His name is Nick.
Nick what? Nick what?
Oh, my God, I'm blanking on his last name.
Think hard.
I lived with him, and I'm blanking on his name.
Okay, well, we'll just wait until you stop blanking.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, why am I blanking on his last name right now? I honestly cannot remember his last name, and I know that's terrible. He's gonna... Oh, my God. He's gonna be so mad at me. It is in my phone.
We're just gonna wait. Why don't you have a seat and look at your phone, figure out the name of this man?
I apologize.
That's okay.
I lived with him, too, and I just didn't even... Oh, my God, this is bad that I don't know his name. I'm going through our messages because I just have his contact name as Nick, too. Oh, my God. Oh, no. I'm not entirely sure I know his last name.
Well, why don't you tell me Nick's phone number?
His phone number is 1707...
Does Nicholas Coe or Poe sound familiar to you?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Got it. Well,
he's in Mexico right now, too.
Now, it is your claim that between September and October, you paid Mr. Cruz $3,200, which was the entire amount that you had agreed on to purchase the car. You made payments. I'd like you to show me proof of each one of those payments.
They were made out through Venmo and Zelle, so I have all of them from both of those. And then here is some of them. And then I could just keep on putting up the papers. Just tell me when you're ready.
No, I just want to see Alfonso Cruz. Keep going.
I think this one actually has all the payments on it made. Yeah, and these are confirmation codes.
And the last payment was when?
October 3rd.
And what happened after you made the last payment, Miss Smith?
I went down to because I work full-time and I live 6 hours away, so I made an appointment with my tow company that I have through my mechanic to pick up the car, and I went down there to pick up paperwork and just anything else that the car, and I told Alfonso I was going to come over and check out the car, and then he called me and told me the car was gone. and just literally that's it. Like, told me the car was gone and then hung up the phone.
Had you ever met him before?
No, which I know was not smart on my end.
Is this the first time that you're meeting him?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right, Mr. Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
What is wrong with you?
With me?
What is wrong with you? With you. I'm looking at you. What is wrong with you?
Nothing, ma'am.
No, there's something wrong with you. What did you do with her money?
Well, I still have it.
What did you do with her money?
I still have it?
You have it?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, why didn't you give it back to her when you sold the car to somebody else?
I told her that she can come and pick up the money, but that was it. And I sold the car to someone else.
Well, do you have the money with you?
Oh, no, ma'am, no.
Where is it?
Next to my nightstand, actually.
Where is it?
Home next to my nightstand. In an envelope.
Really? Who else lives in your home?
My brother, my father. That's about it right now.
Who did you sell the car to?
Close friend.
Really? You getting an appearance fee for appearing on this program today?
Yes, ma'am. I believe so.
Oh, it's not an answer.
That's
what do you mean you
told.
believe so?
That's what I was told. Yes,
How
ma'am.
much?
500?
Well, hold your appearance fee until you get the envelope and give it to her. If you don't get the envelope and give it to her, do you understand, Mr. Cruz? Then I'm going to enter a judgment in her favor in the amount of $3,200. You don't get to keep both. We understand each other, Mr. Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we understand each other, Mr. Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
This case is over. Goodbye.
Really?
Goodbye. That's it. That's what I'm telling you. Did you understand my ruling clearly?
Oh, yes, I did, ma'am. I just thought there was more to it.
Perfect. Perfect. There's no more to
Agreed.
it. Goodbye.
Bye. Have a great day.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
I mean, I knew that I was doing a risky thing to start with.
She wanted me to send it through an online payment.
Definitely knew that, but, you know, it was one of those things where it was, like, too good.
I don't do that. I just have cash. I'd rather just give it to her up front.
That I just, like, saw that car was looking for so long, and I, like, had to have it.
When she didn't want to come pick it up, she decided just to take me to court.
Cash is king. Meet them in person.
Yeah, just come with cash up front. Cash is king.
All parties in the matter of Riccio versus Joseph. Step to the podium, please.
Paulo Riccio is suing fellow motorist Jerome Joseph for a rear-end collision on the freeway.
Mr. Riccio, this is a car accident, and you were the first car in a 3-car collision. The defendant was the last car.
Yes.
So you are suing him for the cost of the repair to your car.
Yes.
August 28th at what time, sir?
It was around 4:00 p.m.
Where?
So it was off of the 91.
Highway, freeway?
Yes, 91 freeway.
What were the weather conditions?
It was clear and sunny.
And what kind of car were you driving, sir?
So I was driving a 2016 white Subaru Forester.
What insurance carrier did you have?
State Farm.
And what kind of car were you driving, Mr. Joseph?
I was driving a Prius at the time.
What year?
I believe that was a 2007 gray Prius.
Did the car belong to you?
Yes.
Registered in your name?
No, not at the time.
Who did the car belong to, Mr. Joseph?
My grandmother, but I was mostly driving the car. The car was insured to me.
That's not what I asked you, sir. I'm going to get there. The car belonged to your grandmother.
Yes.
Does it still belong to your grandmother?
No.
Who does it belong to?
The car got in another car accident with my grandmother, and the car is gone now.
The car got into another accident with who driving the car?
My grandmother, and it got totaled.
When was that, sir?
About 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks to a month ago. Yes.
The police were at the accident. That's what I gather from the papers. At some point, they showed up at the accident. Did you show them proof of insurance?
No, they never.
It's not an answer.
No, Your Honor.
It's not an answer.
No, Your Honor. They never asked me for to show me proof of my insurance at the time.
Can I see a police report?
I have, Your Honor.
Who has a police report?
I do have the police report here.
Should put it up there.
Sure.
Let me understand this, Mr. Joseph. We're starting with you, sir. The plaintiff. Mr. Joseph, pay attention.
Yes, I am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So you're telling me they asked these two people for their insurance, but they didn't ask you for proof of insurance?
They did not.
Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you.
I just want to know if that's what you're selling me. I just want to know if that's what you're selling me.
Paulo Riccio claims fellow motorist Jerome Joseph is at fault for a rear-end pileup on the freeway.
Now, you were the third car. I read your answer. It appears from the complaint and your answer, traffic was stopped. Your answer says you looked away for 2 seconds. When you looked back, you saw that traffic was stopped. You tried to stop, and you couldn't, and you hit the car that was directly behind the plaintiff's, pushing that car into his. Is that what I'm reading from the complaint and answer, Mr. Joseph?
That's what you're reading, but that's not the truth, Your Honor.
Well, that's what you said. Let's see what you say in your answer. The Infinity driver, that's the one in front of you, wasn't prepared when the plaintiff braked and ended up slamming into the back of the plaintiff's car. My insurance company, Progressive. Do you have any papers from Progressive, by the way?
Not at the moment, Miss.
May I see the police report?
Are you asking it for me?
No.
Oh.
He's got it up there.
Okay.
I'd like to see it. Well, let's just start with this, Mr. Joseph.
Yes.
This first page of the police report lists the 3 drivers of the 3 cars. The driver of car number 1 had insurance with AAA. The plaintiff's car had insurance, according to the police officer, with State Farm. You were asked the same question, and it's written on the police report, none, but not cited for their insurance, but they didn't ask you for proof of insurance.
They did not.
Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm telling you, Your
I
Honor.
just want to know if that's what you're selling me. I just want to know if that's what you're selling me. That they asked the person who got hit first, the second car that was hit by you, they asked them for insurance, but didn't ask you for proof of insurance. I just want to know what you're selling me, Mr. Joseph. That's what you're selling me, right?
What I'm telling
That's
you
right.
is yes, that did happen. And, you know, if they did ask me for my insurance and I did tell them no, don't you think I would have got cited for that as well?
No, not if they were being nice to you.
Oh.
Not if they were being nice to you. They wrote in proof of insurance, none, not cited. So what I'm telling you was the police were being nice to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Driver 1, that was you, was driving at a speed too great for existing traffic conditions. As a result, P1 could not stop his car, P1 is you, before subsequently colliding rear. Do you think the police made that up?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Paulo Riccio claims fellow motorist Jerome Joseph is at fault for a rear-end pileup on
the police report, please.
So the next page will be the statements.
It was in the complaint. P1, that's you, Joseph, stated to the police he looked down for 2 seconds. Did they take your phone, Mr. Joseph?
No.
Did they take your phone? My question is a simple one.
No, they did not take my phone.
Did you tell the police you looked down for 2 seconds? And I tried to brake, but I couldn't. Do you think the police made that up?
No, they didn't. That isn't true. What I had said though at the time.
But well, if it's not true, Mr. Joseph, then the police officer made that up. If it's not true, the police officer says he interviewed all 3 people. He said that when he interviewed you at the scene off the highway, determined that it was not a hit and run. He said P1, Joseph, related he looked down for 2 seconds, and when he looked back up, he saw traffic was stopped. He tried to stop, but he couldn't.
Well, yes. I looked down for a second because at the time I was driving for Postmates. Postmates is a delivery service. You delivery food, and that's what I was. I look at my map. So you looked down
for what?
To look at my map. To look at my map to see where I'm heading to next. Anyways, you know, I seen Mr. Paulo's car in front. Next thing you know, the Infinity merged in front, went over the two yellow lines, merged in front of me, and that's when I looked up and it's this car just stopped there. And that's when I had to slam on my brakes and at the last minute, and causing it to make a domino effect, causing the Infinity to hit Paulo's car, or Mr. Paulo.
Let's see the next page, please. Let's see the next page, please. Joseph was driving vehicle 1, a Toyota.
Yes, a Toyota Prius.
At approximately 35 miles an hour, directly behind vehicle 2, which was an Infiniti. Vehicle 2, Martin, was stopped directly behind vehicle 3, which was the plaintiff's Subaru. Driver 1, that was you, was driving at a speed too great for existing traffic conditions. As a result, P1 could not stop his car, P1 is you, before subsequently colliding rear. After all parties were interviewed and waited, Chip. Okay. Is there any?
This is the last page.
Okay. Oh, there is a cause page.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, according to the police that responded to this scene, Mr. Joseph was the cause of the traffic collision. That would be you. And they indicate why. And they cite the traffic code, and they say that you have to travel at a speed that's prudent, giving regard to weather and visibility and traffic, and you can't be looking at a map, looking where you're going to go to make your next food delivery. How much did it cost you to fix your car?
Well, that's the thing, Your Honor. So I had 2 estimates. The first estimate was for $678, which I actually sent them via text. But that was... I just kind of wanted to. I had this feeling where I knew it might be pulling teeth to get money out of it.
Can I see the quotes for the? Can I see the quotes for the car?
I have a text message from the shop.
I want to see the damage. Do you have the picture of the damage?
Here's a picture of the damages of my vehicle.
Okay, great.
And here's another. I don't know.
Okay, good. I got it. To the back bumper, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a bill to fix it?
And obviously, they have to take apart the whole bumper and check to see if there's any other structural damage to the car.
Listen, I can't. That's not where I go. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is not where I go. If you want to have the car fixed and then come back to court and say I had it fixed, this is what it is. If this is the estimate that you have, which is $1,200, then that's what you're going with. Do you understand?
Yes.
It's up to you. I mean, if they go underneath and find that the whole wheel is out of alignment and the car has to be totaled, I can't help you. Once we resolve this case, we're going to resolve it because the accident was his fault. He wasn't looking where he was going. He couldn't stop in time. He's got to pay for the damage to your car because I assume you only had liability on your car and not collision. Am I correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,200. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're done.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
I assume you would say, Mom, that's the wrong rent.
English is not her first language.
She's a very smart lady. Money is her secondary language.
Judge Judy.
You can see on the report, you know, I tried to wave down.
When he had mentioned that, he said he flagged us down. There's no way.
The people that were just hit, and
I didn't see him in any hand gestures or anything like that.
And that's when I contacted authorities, and they came by.
So my initial thought process was, yeah, he did try to do a hit and run.
And concluded, you know, that it wasn't a hit and run.
Always drive with insurance.
Accidents happen.
They ought to make you have this dog muzzled at all times.
A neighborhood menace unleashed.
Mr. Nebrita's dog bit my dog. Mr. Nebrita was not present.
A second attack repeated the terror.
Gary came to the front of my garage. Athena noticed that he was coming in, and they actually scuffled again.
This man let his poodle come into your garage. Don't embarrass yourself. Don't you have family?
This is Judge Judy. Gary Wong is suing his neighbor, Ronald Nebrita, for vet bills, broken glasses, and emotional distress due to a dog attack.
Judge, this is case number 76 on the calendar in the matter of Wong versus Nebrita. Parties have been sworn in. Sir, have a seat, please.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. Wong, you have a little dog, a poodle. Is it a standard poodle? Is it a miniature poodle? Is it a toy poodle?
Had him for over 3-4 years.
It is your claim that on 2 separate occasions, one in March of this year and once again in September of this year, that the defendant's dog, while unleashed, bit your dog You have some substantial vet bills that you want him to be responsible for. Would you tell me about the first incident that happened in March of 2020?
Yes. So the incident happened at 10 a.m. Pretty much I went downstairs to walk my dog with a leash. And as I walked
No, just a second. Stop. Did you say off the leash or on the leash?
On leash. So he was on leash.
On leash.
Next to me. So I walk four houses away from my house, and then I noticed that Mr. Nebrita's dog came over and pretty much circled around my dog and pretty much made my dog anxious. And then before I knew it, Mr. Nebrita's dog bit my dog. And then at that time, Mr. Nebrita was not present.
But had you ever seen Mr. Nebrita's dog before?
I have seen Mr. Nebrita's dog before.
So there was no question that the dog was his dog and came from his house. How far does he live from you?
He lives across the street and one house to the left.
Okay, so pretty close. How long have you had your dog, Mr. Nebrita?
For over 2 years.
Where were you on March the 30th, 2000?
Upstairs in my apartment.
And who was responsible for your dog?
My neighbor, Paul, was actually, I asked him to watch Athena as I went upstairs.
Okay, so you were outside with your dog, whose name is Athena. What kind of a dog is Athena?
Athena is a German Shepherd and a Siberian Husky mix.
So you had been out with the dog?
No, we usually hang out in the garage. She sleeps in the garage, and, you know, we go up and down into the apartment. And Paul, my neighbor...
Okay, so you and Athena were in the garage?
Right, at the time.
And at the time, Athena was off-leash with you in the garage. You were putting around.
Yes.
Your neighbor came in, and you went upstairs.
Correct.
And you left your neighbor in charge of the unleashed dog.
In the garage, yes.
In the garage?
Correct.
Well, I assume the garage was closed.
It was open.
It was open, so that the dog could just walk out of the garage.
She could have, yes, and yes, because it was open.
Well, that's what she did.
Yes.
That's what she did. She walked out, and she was off leash.
Correct.
So there's no question that you're responsible for any vet bills that the plaintiff has for the March 30th incident. You understand that?
Okay, but...
Now, did Mr. Wong come to your house? How did you find out that your dog had bitten his dog?
Well, he came to my house, and I told him that, you know, I would be, as neighborly, I would help him out with some of the bill, possibly if I had extra cash or whatever.
Not neighborly. Did your neighbor with whom you left Athena tell you that your dog had been involved in an incident? The neighbor is here.
Yes.
Let him stand up. I want to see him. Would you move over, please? You're his neighbor. What is your name?
Paul Poilui.
You were watching Athena. Is that what he told me? Is that true?
Yes, I was.
Now, Athena left the garage and went across the street.
That didn't happen.
No, look at me. Look, just a second.
At you.
Look at my eyes.
Yes.
Athena left the garage and went across the street.
That's not
Did you follow her?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And then they approached each other. The two dogs approached each other, and then that's when I seen Gary's dog bit Athena, so she reacted and bit it back. And then...
That couldn't have happened if Athena wasn't out without a leash. Sit. What were the vet bills for March 30th?
The March 30th bills was $1,487.
Did he give you any money towards those bills?
So after I approached Mr. Nebrita to try to work out the situation, he was telling me the situation, so we tried to work out a plan.
Did he give you any money, is my question.
No.
The answer is no, he did not.
No.
Now, I'd like you to tell me what happened on September 16th.
So what happened on September 16th, it was 7 p.m., and I came down from my apartment, and I was going to take out the garbage and then walk my dog right after. And I look across the street, and I see Mr. Nebrita walking over to another neighbor's house located. And so I assumed that he was going to talk to some friends. Then I look over to where his place is, and then I noticed that his dog, Athena, was right across the street staring at my dog.
Stop. Was she across the street alone?
Yes, across the street alone and unleashed.
He wasn't there?
No.
I mean, he was walking over to another neighbor's house?
Correct.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
That Athena was across the street. Now, was your dog on a leash?
He was on leash.
Yes?
Yes.
Then tell me what happened.
So I went down to pick up my dog, and then before I knew it, Athena ran over and pretty much bit my dog. So then I'm trying to grab Athena to try to get him off. and all I just hear is my dog just started screaming. So then I just hear like bites after bites, and then I'm just trying to shout, "Get off my dog, get off my dog." Soon after, I hear Nevada, after a couple bites, then he finally let go of my dog.
Your version.
I was in the garage with Athena.
Your version.
I was in the garage with Athena. Gary came to front of my garage. Athena noticed that he was coming in, and they actually scuffled again. And it wasn't even that long of a time for her to really actually bite and attack her, but no.
Are you telling, listen to me.
Yes.
Nabrita.
Yes.
Are you telling me that after the March incident, this man let his poodle come into your garage? Is that what you're telling? That's what you want this face to believe?
It happened in front of my garage.
This is what you want?
Yes.
This is what you want this face to believe, that after this young man witnessed his dog being bit in March, he came over, crossed the street from his house to your house to the open garage.
Yes.
He did that.
In front of my garage.
You're an idiot. You want me to believe that after he witnessed his dog being bloodied in March, that had to be stitched up in March, he took his 10-pound dog across the street to your unleashed dog who was again sitting in the garage. Yes. Sitting in the garage. Don't embarrass yourself with yourself. How much were the bills in September?
The bill in September was $4,500.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. They ought to make you have this dog muzzled at all times. And you better check your homeowner's insurance. If you have a job, the next time it happens, they're going to garnish your salary or take away your car or whatever else they have. Goodbye. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
With Athena being a larger dog, and Gary's dog being smaller, his wounds were a lot worse.
It's definitely a relief to actually get some sort of conclusion.
Well, I was in the garage when Gary did come in front of the garage.
Well, especially with the first incidents, I avoid his house as much as possible.
All parties in the matter of Estrada versus Barreco. Step forward, please.
Angela Estrada says her former tenant, Madison Barreco, moved out owing for rent, bills, and damages to her home.
Miss Estrada, the defendant was a tenant of yours.
Yes.
From when to when?
She originally rented the house in June of 2018. She moved in with her boyfriend.
I didn't ask you who she moved in with.
I'm sorry.
I just said, when did her tenancy start?
Her tenancy started
June of
2018.
Did she have a one-year lease or a two-year lease?
It was originally a one-year lease that went to a month-to-month tenancy thereafter.
So she was 18 to May 31st, 2019, when she became a month-to-month tenant.
Yes.
Thereafter, she was your tenant until June of this year?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
From June 2018 to June 2019, did the defendant pay you rent?
Yes, ma'am.
And from June of 2019 until May of 2020, did the defendant pay you rent?
Yes, ma'am. Not always on time towards the end.
Well, you were aware as a landlord that there was a moratorium on eviction for tenants.
Yes, ma'am. I never tried to evict her.
That's not my question. Why don't you let me finish my question?
Okay.
There was a moratorium on eviction for non-payment of rent because of the pandemic starting in March. You were aware of that?
Yes, ma'am.
And despite the fact that you were aware that you were forbidden to evict the defendant, she paid you rent in March, in April.
No, ma'am. She didn't pay in April.
No rent in April. In May?
She paid April's rent in mid-May, and she...
What difference does it make? You got paid for 3 months' rent, despite the fact that you had no recourse if she stopped paying you rent.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct? So she was one of the good guys who continued to pay rent even though their landlord would have no recourse if they stopped.
I didn't have an issue with her paying the rent.
So that's just, well, that's not 100% true because you have in your complaint late fees.
Yes, ma'am. That was in our contract.
You understand what I'm saying. So I am eliminating that. And the only part of your complaint that I'm going to hear is, because the rest of it is nonsense, Mr. Estrada. You should say thank you very much for being an honest person and paying your rent even though I couldn't have done anything to you if you didn't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Without my permission, Miss Barreco painted the bedrooms. She left painter's tape. It peeled all of the paint off.
You hadn't painted the house in 5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Time to paint.
Angela Estrada is suing her former tenant, Madison Barreco, for property damage, utilities, lock-changing fees, and for prorated rent.
A security deposit. And the security deposit was how much?
$1,000.
Did you return the security deposit to her?
No, ma'am.
So you kept the security deposit, for which I assume you were alleging damage.
Yes, ma'am. Lots of damage.
So far, $1,000 of that you've kept for some of the damage. Now I would like to see what you are alleging she caused in damage to the premises that is $4,000 worth.
Absolutely. We had an appointment for her to come through a walkthrough. Actually, we made several appointments.
That is not a question that I asked you. What I asked you was I'd like to see photographs of the damage that you are alleging she caused to the premises. Photographs.
Okay. This first photograph is of the security door as you get to the house. And when I got to the house, the security door couldn't close any longer because it had been pried open at some point, and it would no longer shut, lock, or close.
Okay. Stop right there. Leave that there. Miss Barreco, how did that happen to the door?
The door, it wasn't that bad when we moved in 2018. I'll admit that. It was not that bad. There was one day that we were outside. We had to pry that open because of how old that screen was.
Okay. Now, what I'd like to see, door, the security door. Okay. Security door replaced, new security door installed, replaced broken jams, new door installed. Okay. $360. What's next?
When I got to the house, this is the air filter in the hallway, and it had never been changed, and it was actually sucked up into the vent. I know it hadn't been changed because I dated them.
You should have changed it. You're the landlord. Next.
This is one of the rooms. The carpeting could not be cleaned. It was filthy, so I had the carpeting removed.
And you want her to pay for new carpeting?
Yes, ma'am. The carpeting was brand new when she moved in.
The carpet was not brand new. She had tenants living there before me.
I had it professionally cleaned before she moved in.
But it wasn't brand new.
It was not brand new.
That's a different, just a second.
I apologize.
That's a different story.
It was
That's a different story.
like
What's
new
next?
conditioner.
What's next?
In one
What's
of the bedrooms,
next? 360.
Without my permission, Miss Barreco painted the bedrooms and then tried to repaint over where she had painted them. She left painter's tape attached to the walls, and you can see it's not covering the actual paint at all. When I took the painter's tape off, it peeled all of the paint off.
Miss Estrada, how many rental properties do you have?
Just the one.
In what year?
It would have been almost 11 years ago. It'll be 11 years ago in a month from when he passed away.
And have you constantly rented that house?
Well, I spent a year renovating it. I took out a very large loan and renovated the whole house.
Just a second. Has the house been consistently rented since then?
Most of the time, yes. There might have been a month or two gap, but for the most part, it's been rented the whole time.
Have you done any renovations or refurbishing since you totally renovated the home 11 years ago?
I replaced the carpet 5 years ago, 2 years before Miss Barreco was in it. So when I say I replaced it, it would have been
5 years ago?
Yes, ma'am.
Did a new tenant move into the house?
Since Miss Barreco left?
The defendant left?
6 weeks after, yes. She started renting in August. I spent 6 weeks fixing everything.
So she moved in August 1st?
The new tenant moved in August 1st, yes.
And you were paid your rent from the defendant through most of June?
Yes, ma'am.
So the only month that you didn't have
was July.
Was July. And you hadn't painted the house in 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
According to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Time to paint.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Do you know anything about a broken window?
It's from the gardeners, so I was not going to pay for the window that they broke.
Do you know how the gardeners broke that window?
Maybe a rock hit it, I don't know.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Angela Estrada is suing her former tenant, Madison Barreco, for property damage, utilities, lock changing fees, and for prorated rent she never paid.
Now, clearly, you were able to put the house in sufficient conditions so that in August, with only 1 month downtime, you have a new tenant. Show me the other pictures of the other damage that you're alleging. So far, you have $1,000 in security deposit that you retained.
Flush, and the toilet seat was broken, so I had to call a plumber out.
Okay. I would like to see the bill from the plumber. $273.12.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we're up to $633. What's next?
The house was left very, very dirty.
Now I will see a bill from a cleaning service to clean the apartment after the defendant left.
This was the bill for the cleaning company to come in and clean the house.
Great. Window cleaning, she's not responsible for. So that's $1033. What else?
When she moved out, she didn't return all of the keys. I had to have the locks changed.
That's your business. What's next?
There was also one window that was broken and one that was missing completely, so I had to have those 2 windows replaced.
Picture, please. Do you know anything about a broken window?
I had replaced a broken window, yes, but the other window, no. And the window that she's talking about that's cracked or missing or whatever was from the gardeners. So I was not going to pay for the window that they broke. That was not on me.
Ms. Barreco never let me know there was a broken window.
Do you know how the gardeners broke that window?
Maybe a rock hit it, I don't know, but I know for a fact that it wasn't me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Did you replace a window?
I replaced a window, yes.
Tell me when you replaced a window and how did it come about that you needed to replace a window?
The window in the living room. My dog, there was somebody walking and he was barking and he pushed the window and it fell out and broke. I had that one replaced. But that one, I don't know, and the gardener.
This was in one of the bedrooms, and as you can see, there's no window there.
Okay, very good. Would you remove the phone? That's the glass.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so far, she owes you $143. You kept $1,000 of her security deposit. The overage of what you showed me is $143.
Additionally, she
Nowhere near
threw out all of
$4,000.
the curtains in the house. She admits to throwing them out.
Miss Estrada?
Yes, ma'am.
$143. Consider yourself lucky. We're finished. This case is over. Goodbye.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy, the reasons to evict were growing.
He brought in his daughter, and then he brought in his second daughter, and then he brought in his third daughter.
You had 60 days to leave. Why didn't you?
Judge Judy.
Miss Barreco destroyed my grandfather's house.
I am glad